Okay. Start video. Sign in. What? Oh, really? Five, 2, 3, 2, 2, 8. Okay. Something happened. I don't know what the heck. Share screen participants. Cindy and Stephen. Betsy. That's because Patty hasn't started, I guess. Yeah. Oh, is there no Patty?
Oh, she'll be here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing, Karen?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Hot, tired.
Yeah.
What else?
How many games of pickleball did you play today?
Nothing. I'm a grandmother now. I babysit on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my
Where's
first.
your
The baby's
where's
in
your
Oakland.
grandchild?
In Oakland. So I drive up to Oakland and I stay Monday and
Do you
Tuesday.
go out? Wow. Good
I
for
know.
you.
I know. We're going to do this for the first year. So he's almost 9 months now. So I
Aw.
tell you, it's tiring.
There's a reason you're supposed to have your children when you're young.
I know.
Yeah. So I'm gonna text Patty.
Okay, that's good. It's not tax season, is
What's going on? Well, only maybe if you filed an extension. And is John on the call? Because a lot of this is about the picnic. So the two of them,
He hasn't signed in yet. Steve Dunn's here, the
Hmm.
music guy, Dave Bailey, me and you. That's it.
yeah,
I don't know who the monkeys are. Owls? What are they?
That's Betsy Morgenthaler. Hi, Steve.
Hello, how you
Hi,
doing?
Steve.
John have a
How
softball
are
game?
you?
How's it going?
Good. How are you? Someone's walking in your door behind that, in your window there. Oh, it's Dorian. She locked,
Hi,
is she
Dorian.
locked out?
Where is she? Where is she?
Yeah, John
John,
had a,
you know, go ahead, Dave.
sorry, John had a softball game tonight, so he might be late because of that.
Softball takes precedence over Parks and Rec.
Recreation takes precedence. Recreation in the park.
Makes
Precedence
sense.
over parks and recreation.
It definitely makes sense.
We're not showing video, so not to worry about it.
I'm not showing video? Really? Says I am.
No,
Which
you,
says-
Cindy, I can see you.
Oh,
I think that was for somebody else, that comment.
oh, Betsy's not showing video.
I'm here though.
We hear you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So no response from Patty yet.
Okay.
So.
Well,
Hmm,
that's odd.
I hope everything's okay. Yeah,
I know that worries me. It does.
yeah.
Is somebody about to log on?
I can't tell. Can you tell?
I see a little phone and a phone number.
Yeah, but that's usually, I don't know. That's usually the one person who phones in the most is Caroline Vertonghen, but
Caroline.
I have no idea what her phone number is. Well, this is interesting. What do you think we should do if Patty,
Is a no-show? I
well,
don't,
let me look at the agenda.
I looked, okay, it's
Um,
order, oral communications approval. We have a bunch of stuff about the town picnic, the game night update, pickleball courts. Dog
yeah,
park.
let's wait. Let's
Let's give
wait
it
like
10 minutes.
4 more minutes. Yeah. I mean, we know John's
Can
gonna be late.
Can you call her direct? Can you call her directly, like on her cell phone or something?
I did text her. I can try to
call.
phone her as well, but I would think unless maybe her cell phone doesn't work at her house, but then calling her won't work either because I only have her cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can- let me see if I
Okay,
can call her.
I'll be back. I'll try to give her a call, but
Oh,
I'm
here,
gonna get off
I'll just
the.
call her. I got her number. I'll just call her. Oh, she's, let me see.
Yeah, I only have cell too. Nobody has landlines anymore.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Well, I have
I
one, but
got
it's not
landline.
really land, it's internet. It's not the same. Isn't hardwired.
Hello.
Oh, Steve looks like he's on an old fashioned phone. Cause you own like 146 of them, right?
That's right.
He has a museum collection, he really does.
Uh-huh.
He's got music stuff and phones, that's Steve.
The theme there, wires and
Okay.
noise.
All right.
Oh, yay! Hello.
There she is. All right.
What? I've
We were
been here-
worried about you.
I've been here like for 5 minutes.
There we go.
You've been hiding.
No, I was not. I've been right here the whole time. I just blend in. Yay.
Were you
I'm just
were you
so-
wearing? You were wearing your invisible cloak, weren't you?
I does. I was my Star Wars cloak.
That's so funny. Okay.
Okay. John said he might be a little late. So I think he's got a softball game tonight.
You know, try to be
Oh.
quiet, Mom. Are you muted now?
Was that? Did someone
Is
say-
who asked?
Sorry, I'm just printing out the agenda. So I'm look like I'm somewhat organized, which I'm not right now. Okay, was that Caroline? 7562? Hi.
I think it's Betsy. Is
Yes.
Betsy, is that you on the phone?
I'm on Zoom.
Yes.
Caroline, we're
Oh,
talking.
okay.
Okay,
No,
Carolyn.
that's Carol. That's
Oh,
Caroline.
Betsy is the owls.
Oh, Betsy M. Yeah, there she is. Okay, all right, okay. But I don't see Lindsay. But we do have a quorum. There's 4 of us. Hi, Dave.
Well, oh. Oh, hello, I am not muted.
All right, so I'm calling for
Ah, there he is.
7:39. Okay. Are there any oral communications or any items that are not on the agenda? Okay, I'm gonna move ahead then. Approval of minutes from the meeting of June 18th, 2024. Are there comments, questions about the minutes?
I motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. We have one item of new business. I put Mr. Epstein's letter in the packet for tonight. There was a request by a resident to have the water faucet at the town playground sandbox turned on. Evidently, there's some history here, although nobody seems to know the complete history. Justin says that many, many years ago, the Conservation Committee and the Sustainability Committee requested that it be turned off. He, at the time, for conservation issues, but he wasn't quite sure. So I reached out to Catherine McGill of the Conservation Committee and also to Rebecca Flynn.
Hey, check. I have a Parks and Rec meeting right now. Hold on.
John, I need to mute you. Unless
Oh,
you're
sorry
gonna
about that.
mute.
Sorry, I thought I was already muted. I will do that.
Okay.
Our softball game is just ending.
Did you win?
No, we
Oh,
lost
okay.
18-15.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh.
I'll try to find the mute button. It's a good game.
All right. Thanks, John. I reached out to Catherine McGill of the Conservation Committee, and I reached out to Rebecca Flynn of Sustainability to get their input because I thought we would be the 3 committees that would be most interested. Neither one of them could remember this come up at all in their tenure with the committees, which has been quite a while. Both of them indicated support for turning it back on. I did ask Justin what kind of a control was, and he said, and I meant to go by playground, but I didn't. He said it's like, you know, those water fountains where you press a button and water comes out, but then as soon as you unpress the button, if that's a word, you know, the water stops. So there was concern about whether it would be left on or whatever, but I guess that's how it's regulated.
It's a, yeah, it's a, if I remember correctly, it's a sprung lever.
I mean, Justin said the only issue would be that if it broke over the weekend and nobody was there and it leaked all weekend, but you know, that, I don't know. Anyway, that was the only issue that came up. So I'm not sure whose jurisdiction this is, whether it's Parks and Rec, whether it's conservation, whether it's sustainability. It came to us. Does anybody have on the committee, any comments or questions?
I have a question, which is a broader question related to this is, if there's an emergency over the weekend for something, what is the process? Is there anybody that can attend to a specific situation? I mean, this is a larger issue, obviously, not just about a water spigot staying on. But do we have some kind of coverage on Saturdays and
Sure.
Sundays? Should there,
I mean,
like a
other
tree
than-
falling or,
Other than the sheriff, when you call 911? Wouldn't you?
Isn't
well,
there,
there's that 311 or what's the,
there's,
511, 511
Mm.
is non-emergency. I mean, to answer your question, there are not any town staff here on the weekend, anywhere. You know, playground, tennis courts.
they're like public
softball
works
field.
volunteers or something?
I'm sorry?
I thought they were like public works volunteers.
No, I do not know.
Like my old neighbor used to do that on weekends. Bud Iceberg.
Oh,
If that's the case, I'm not aware of it. I could follow up to see if
Okay.
anybody knows.
And there's some volunteer was driving around helping to there's a tree down during one of the windstorms early this year. And some PV resident volunteer was driving around, moving that around in lieu of the sheriff. So there are people, I feel like there are after hours people.
I mean,
they're not somebody we could call.
Technically,
They're not
I
published.
have Justin's personal cell phone and I know he lives close by. I mean, if dear God, something terrible were to happen, I mean, I think he would show up, but there's technically not coverage for lack of it.
is there a water main somewhere that could be shut off? Do we, I mean, there must be a water main.
Are you
Oh,
talking about are we talking about the playground spigot? Are we talking about something bigger?
I'm now back to understanding that we don't have any staff to rely on the weekend. So now I'm trying to see if there is an issue, is there a way to address it quickly?
You know what,
Without
I
having
would,
the water going
what
on.
I might suggest, what I might
Stephen,
suggest you do.
Stephen, sorry, protocol is that the committee
Oh.
discusses this first. Thank you.
Oh, sure.
So
Oh.
I think this might be a broader issue. Is it something that we can put in the parking lot? And I'll see what I can do to follow up and see what information might be available.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should turn it on, but we need to make sure that if there is an issue, there's a way to address it quickly. That's my
Okay, so-
personal feeling.
So your concern is that if it keeps running all weekend, that would be a problem.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of at the time.
Okay, that's fair.
Anybody else?
Cindy, Dave?
No, I mean, we've had the water fountains at the pickleball courts forever. Nothing's ever gone wrong. I mean, I just don't, I mean, that would be a 1 in a gazillion shot that something will go wrong with that spigot. That nobody would notice and not call someone.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move on up to the,
Okay,
sorry, non-committee members. Do you have any comments?
I was just gonna suggest, I can understand the reasons for having a momentary switch on the top, and yes, I could see where those momentary switches could possibly get tired and start leaking or not be able to shut off or whatever. One suggestion would just be, I think I know the one you're talking about because we take our grandkids there. You could, like a little farther down the line, like maybe a foot below, you could have a manual shut off with instructions that if it doesn't shut off, please shut it off and report it, and then give them a phone number to call. That's maybe an idea.
It's a great idea.
I like the idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, so then bringing it back to the committee, am I that in general we support it, but the comment back to, and I assume this is a Sharif decision. I mean, whatever, but I'll bring it up with him, is that this has been raised. There's 3 committees that support it, but that we would like someone to look into, you know, a solution such as Stephen mentioned, which would enable the water to be turned off if there's an emergency or a mishap over the weekend. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, done. Thank you. Okay, old business. First order of business is Zots to Tots, town picnic update. Stephen, welcome. Stephen's been looking into some suggestions about music for us. So, Stephen, you have the floor.
Okay, so so I don't know if you knew it. I was involved with PV Palooza. I'm not on the board because our band played, so you can't be a player in the band because you get paid and be on the board. So I'm not on the board. But what I am is I'm an ad hoc member because what happens is we had 2 stages at PV Palooza, or we called them main stages, and we had adult bands only. And they were, you know, well-known bands like our band. People know our band, other bands too. We played on those for about an hour. And when we changed from one band to another, we didn't want to waste an opportunity for someone to perform because it takes about 20 minutes to swap over. So we had what was called the side stage, which were typically kids, could be an adult maybe, but normally we try to get kids up there to play. And those are called the side stage. So I was in charge of, for John Badger, I coordinated all 48 of the musicians for the side stage. And I had about 11 or 12 slots that I had to manage through. So I think what happened was when music was mentioned for the town picnic, somehow my name came up, got thrown a hat in the ring somehow.
Sorry.
Which is fine. Which is fine. So I've already done some homework on it, so I could give you some suggestions. But this being my very, very first interaction with this committee, I don't want to feel like I'm moving too fast here because I don't know exactly what your expectations are. Because the only parameter I had was trying to figure out how to have about 2 hours of music from 11:30 to 1:30, sort of the peak of the picnic. And it would just be, you know, casual band music in the background playing. You know, it's not stage, it isn't like chairs sitting around people listening, it's just music going on, just to kind of add to the, you know, the air of festivity
Ambiance.
for the picnic. Yeah, the ambiance, and that's it. So so first of all, let me verify that that's, you know, that's the objective, number one. And number two, then I can share with you what homework I've done with talking to musicians so far. So first of all, is that the basic parameter that you were hoping for, number one?
Yes.
So, okay, so that being said, there is one, so I was thinking about breaking the time up into about 30 minutes of one of the sort of side stage type theme, and then 90 minutes of more adult players. And let me start with the 30-minute section from the side stage. There was one Portola Valley resident, a kid by the name of Grant Hinshaw, who was unbelievable during PV Palooza. He was so organized. In fact, I had him organize 3 of my bands for me. So he was phenomenal. He's a really good bass player, one of Ronnie Crawford's students. Fabulous. Belongs to the club, so we know him through the club as well and so forth. But I had approached him about would he like to do that again, give me about 30 minutes and have him put an entourage together. And he is so excited about it. I mean, he's just like, this would be great. So that would be the 130-minute. For the 90-minute, I mean, I would raise my hand and say our band, the Los Tranquilizers, could cover you, but it won't work because our bass player's out of town. we're playing at a fundraiser for Pets in Need the following weekend at the Devil's Canyon thing, and our lead guitarist doesn't want to be distracted with like 2 things to have to get ready for. But my drummer and myself, I mean, we're willing to do something and play. So to fill it out, I talked to Bundy Brown and Pat Tinney, both of which are very excited, very interested. And I would sort of somehow split the time or trade off songs between the 2 of them. If any of you have heard them play or perform, they're phenomenal. I mean, they're both great. Bundy's played with Todd Johnson. Pat Tinney's played all over the place. And then Carla, my drummer, and I would play rhythm guitar. And Grant would continue to play with us as the bass player. And he is beside himself that he'd have an opportunity to perform with Bundy and Pat Tinney. It's so exciting to him. And he's very well qualified. So that would be my basic idea, would be 30 minutes of Grant's, you know, it'll be high school kids, then 90 minutes of some mix of Pat Bundy and Pat Tinney with Carla and myself and Grant backing them up. So that was sort of my overall thought of how the agenda could go. So reaction?
I think that sounds a lot of fun. Couple questions. What kind of music?
Yeah, it's like cover stuff, you know, 80s, 90s stuff, and then, you know, typical, you know, familiar, you know, rock, you know, light, soft rock, you know, light rock type stuff. It's not heavy metal. It's not rap. It's not, you know, it's not something that some people might have a little bit of trouble with. It's total middle of the road
And I was
stuff.
really looking for rap.
You were not.
Yeah. I mean, Bundy comes and plays at the club all the time. He and Todd play out on the deck, and they're just
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean,
Yeah, Todd
everyone
Johnson's-
raves about.
That
Yeah.
group is really great. They are good.
Yeah. I'm a little. I would, if you're okay with that sort of general thing. The one thing I do want to jump to is we do need to talk about sound systems. So, I mean, I'm assuming you don't really have a town sound system. I don't believe. Do you?
I think we have another question before you jump there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Steve, a couple questions for you. And this maybe ties to the sound system, but when you said side stage, are you thinking that we would need 2 stages, or is it just one?
No.
It's
No.
warm-up
No.
band and
No.
then,
I was giving you
Openers.
background on PV Palooza. That's all that
okay,
was.
okay, because you
Oh, no,
mentioned,
no. Grant
you
would play
mentioned
for
Grant as the
Grant
side
would
stage.
play for 30
Got it.
minutes. Yeah, no. Grant would play for 30 minutes, and then we'll take like 5 minutes to
Okay.
switch over.
And
and
then,
then we'll go. Yeah.
my other question, and I have no, I'm not involved in this at all, is just understanding the budget issues. So, and that might tie to the sound system as well. So those were the questions I had.
Yeah. So let's see. Anyway, out of saying what I'm going to say as follows, because I mean, people know I've definitely jumped in for town support any way I can, but I don't see any way out of this other than for me to provide my sound system, which is a lot of work on my part. But I have everything you need. The only thing I'll need is power, and that's it. I prefer two distinct power sources from different circuits. If I could, I really prefer 3. And we did a thing at the Priory years ago, so I've got hundreds of feet of extension cords, so we could string it across the. I think you were sort of talking about maybe the area of like second base on the baseball field. Is that what you were thinking of? What was
Yeah,
the idea
you and I
for
talked about this.
location?
So that's where we put it last year.
Yeah.
I'm open to other ideas. That is, and then we strung 100-foot cables back to a
Yeah.
couple of outlets in the maintenance shed.
Yeah.
So that's what we did
Yeah,
last year.
I mean, the equipment is not quite as bad as it used to be in terms of draw. It's just for me, if we can make sure that the maintenance department could help us identify 3 unique circuits, it sure would be nice. I just don't want any issues with it. And every time we play, like at the we play a lot at the Los Trancos picnic or Vista Verde picnic. I do the same thing. I go up, we go around the house. We find a garage circuit, we find a patio circuit, we find a kitchen circuit, and we keep them separate. And that just means there just won't be an issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, if we decide to move forward, I'd be happy to meet with you down at town center and look at what our options would be. I mean, I'm not wedded to second base, just happened to be, you know, where we put it last year.
Yeah.
Might not be the best solution.
But
I'm
do you
happy
know
to be
that
flexible.
there are 2 power outlets on the tennis courts?
But they might be the same circuit.
That
That's
they
the
might be
thing.
the same circuits, but they probably won't be the same circuit as in the sheds.
Probably not.
So you could probably, that, it's to note those that as options of places to put when you're
Well,
looking.
the other
Yeah,
thing we-
but I
the
don't
other
see
thing
any,
we
I
could
mean,
do
I don't
is-
see, I mean, you do have, I did hear there was maybe a budget of $600, whatever. The only reason I could see that coming up, because, you know, typically guys like Bundy or, you know, or Pat Tinney would get like $100 or $150 to play. That's sort of normal. I mean, Grant and I and Carla, we don't care about being paid. Don't worry about that. But like we got paid $150 each at PV Palooza. So our band got like, you know, I think it was $250. I think it was $250 each. Yeah, we got $250 each at PV Palooza. So, I mean, if we don't have to use the $600, because I'm saving you the need to rent any sound equipment, which, you know, renting sound equipment can be, we spent like $28,000 or something renting sound equipment for PV Palooza. So, you know,
Well,
it
okay,
isn't a cheap deal.
Stephen,
Yeah.
this is not PV Palooza, okay? Nowhere near PV Palooza. This is like one band.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. No, I know. Oh no, I know. Oh no, I know that. Yeah. But I'm just saying
Okay,
it's not a zero sum. So I'm just
Ah.
saying the fact that I don't think you have to pay anything other than, I think if
Also,
you're not going
I
to use
mean-
600 for anything else, you probably should cover Bundy and Pat Tinney because they're professionals. Anyway, thought on that. Oh, go ahead.
Karen,
Aaron.
And one other thought in terms of where you put the stage is I've heard, I have heard, and this is from picnics past, if it's extremely hot, you want to make sure that the band isn't just out in the blazing sun. So
Tent it, don't you?
we put a tent
Yeah.
out there for them.
perfect. And then being on the field itself can
Not in the
be
field.
very dirty and
It's
dusty and
on-
isn't good
It's
for
not
the
in
equipment.
field, It's in the
Okay,
grass.
great. Great. Well, so when I think second
Karen,
base,
Well, so you
when
have
I
a
think
tent.
second
Outside.
base, I
You
think
ha-
on
you
the
do have a
dirt.
Done it
good-
before.
A little further out.
Oh, sorry. So you do have a tent, is that what you're saying? So you do have a good sized tent, is that correct?
You have a good size, I'm sorry, what?
Tent.
Tent?
We have, we have a tent. I mean, I don't know what you consider good size. It's the one that's the booths typically fit under. I mean, I can always get 2 of them.
Who's the
Okay.
vendor for the tents, Patty?
They're like 12 feet long, don't you think, Patty? They're like longer
No,
than
they're
these
not
long
12, they're
tables.
like, I think they're 10 by 10.
Are these tents that the town owns or that we're renting?
No, that we rent.
I'm sure they have a extra large tent or something.
Yeah, what do you need?
Yeah, I
What
think
would
we
you
need
need?
2 of those. I think we need 2 then, two next
Well,
to each
okay,
other, so
what
10
I
by
would
10,
like-
yeah.
Instead of doing this here,
Yeah,
I mean, if the team feels that this is something that they would like to move forward with, then Stephen and I could take this offline because we got a lot of things to talk about tonight. And I just want to get general direction from the committee that this is the reason where we went ahead. And then we can talk about all these logistics offline. Committee, do you feel that this is a good direction to go in?
I think it's great.
yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's,
I'm totally in favor and thank you, Steve.
Okay.
I mean,
It'll
it's
be fine.
local,
It'll be
you
fine.
know?
All local.
Yeah.
All local.
We
I
like
really
it.
like
Okay.
that.
And
I
just
like
wait
it.
till next
Okay.
year when we have the dunk tank. It's gonna
Yeah.
be like hopping.
Bring back the dunk tank. Everyone remembers the dunk tank. Everyone remembers that.
You're gonna have to keep the dunk tank and the sound system really far apart.
True thing. All right.
You're gonna
Okay,
alert
I'll
it
start,
to
all right.
our new mayor.
All right,
Okay,
I'll start
Stephen.
solidifying thing. Do I have approval for the 150 each for Bundy, and Pat Tinney. Do I have approval for that?
That's 300?
Correct.
Yes, you do.
Great. That'd be great. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep, good
All
work.
right.
Stephen, why don't
All right.
you and I touch
Okay,
base and we'll work through it.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So,
Really
all
appreciate
right.
it.
So I guess you're done with me then, right?
Yeah, we're
with me?
done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
all right.
you.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. It'll be a
Ah,
lot of fun. We'll make it
Take
fun.
care.
All right,
Yeah, we'll be.
bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. So we're moving forward with the band. Where's my So do we want to talk about hats? Mr. Myers, are you in a place to talk about hats?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm here.
All right.
So I think the only thing left, I actually think it all looks good. Clearly the logo, if you look at the logo that you have, the 60th anniversary is tiny. And so it's going to look particularly tiny on the visors, and the whole thing will, but I think that's okay. And they kind of expanded it, and I kind of like that. So I think the only thing that was left over was just, do we want to put 2024 on it? And again, I think also maybe, and Zats the Tots 2024, and I could probably even split it out where we have 50 or whatever number we think we're going to sell with just 2024, but it really takes it from $11 to $15. And we think it's important. For, it's $4, it's $1,200 or something total. It's just a matter of whether we think that's worth it to do, but we can definitely do it. But I think it was the only question on the table. They look great, by the way. Because this was easy. We had a logo ready to go. I think we decided on white hats. They can put it on there. It's going to be embroidered. I'm sure it's going to look great. So the only question is, do we want to take it for the hats, which is about 2/3 or 3/4 of the number of hats and visors that we order. And do we think it's important to put 2024 on it, or is that 2024? So you can tell me. I'm happy to do either one.
John, do you want me, I know you're on your phone, do you want me to do a screen share and show the
Yes.
logo
Yeah,
to everybody?
if you can do that, that'd be great.
You
That'd be great.
guys keep talking and I'll get that up. I'll get to my email.
I
Hang on
thought
one
the logo
second.
was gorgeous. I mean, it really was.
I think
very
it's
nice.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah. Okay, hang
I
on
like
one
the
second.
idea- I
Pull it
like
up.
the idea of putting 2024 on there, even though it costs
Okay.
$4 more.
On the hat.
On the hats. I
Yeah,
know you
unfortunately, you
can't.
can't get it on the visors. There's literally no place to put it on the visors. If you think about a visor,
I know.
it's already really tiny in the front, and then in the back, there is no back. They're literally maybe there's other places to go. Custom Ink is a huge company, and so it's a very straightforward thing to do. And while there may be other things, I think it's okay for just the visors to not have it, but we should decide on the hats.
Okay, can everybody
yeah.
see the logo now? And I
Yep.
can I make it a little bigger? No.
You don't need
Sorry,
to.
that's
You don't need to. I can see it.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
I'm on my phone. So you see that 60th
Yeah.
anniversary? That thing is tiny on the actual, on the original logo. And I think making it bigger, I thought that was really
Yeah,
good input
looks
by
better.
Custom Ink, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's great. So I think
Yeah.
that looks good. And so, you have a design here where it doesn't show it, but what would happen is on the back, see that back, we would have a color scheme. It'd probably be just green, right? Maybe we could do green and yellow, but probably not, without more cost. And it would simply say either just 2024, or it could say Zats the Tots 2024. And we would use either that green, same color font. It would certainly be the same color, or same font. And it'd be, either green, that same green, or that same yellow, whatever we want. And it would literally sit there on the back looking exactly like the front. So it'd look good for sure.
Yeah, I think green
yeah.
would look better, But,
Yeah.
so I know you're kind of, I know you feel strongly about adding Zots on there.
Well, you don't have, we don't have to. It's just every hat through history has had mostly just said Zots to Tots. That's all,
Yeah.
as opposed to anything else.
Got
I
it.
don't mind. It doesn't have to say. I think it's fine. You know, we'll be handing up. First of all, people are going to be going great. Oh, thanks. I got a hat. Right? They're not going to be. They're not going to be worrying whether it says Zots to Tots or 2024 or anything. They're just going to go thanks. But anyway, we should do what we think is right and good here. So either one, Zots to Tots, 2024 or just 2024 or nothing. I'm okay with all of it, frankly, because I think it looks great right there. What you're looking at, I think looks awesome, personally.
Yeah.
Karen, go ahead.
So can you hear me or did I put myself on mute?
We can hear you.
No, we
You're
can,
here.
we can hear you.
Okay, okay, I wasn't sure because I've still got the screen up. I don't know why. This is just personal opinion. I can't give you objective data, but I really like, and I know that the council and Sarah really wanted to promote the 60th anniversary. And so I love the logo. I think it looks great. And for some reason, I just want 2024 because it tells when, obviously, when the year of founded, if you can do math, right?
You don't have it
And
memorized?
And everyone doesn't know 1964 is.
No, I don't think they do,
Oh my
but that they could figure it. And I kind of like
Well,
it.
first
since
of all,
it's a
it
different-
means they weren't at trivia night. They weren't at the first trivia
There
night.
you-
They don't know that.
There you go.
They missed it
That's
right
true.
there.
But I kind of like this as being a special hat just for the anniversary and not putting Zots to Tots on it because we're putting something different on it anyway. But that's again, I can go either way. I'm not wedded to it, but there's something for me personally. I like it without the Zots to Tots, but don't ask me why.
How many?
By the way, I'm
how many
okay.
hats is
It's a lot. It's like 400. By the way, I actually kind of like it without the Zots to Tots too, but I also like it without the 2024 too, even, and also doesn't get cost. So I'm okay with everything. But keep going. Keep going.
I vote for saving the $1,600 and keeping it as it is,
Mm.
or however much it is.
Cindy,
I don't care. I really don't. I don't wear hats. I love that logo though.
well, how about this so if you could stop sharing, Karen,
Yeah, stop sharing.
and I am gonna share my screen.
You could have just overridden her.
Have we
which
always had
is-
the year?
No,
Well, I think we have, but we also always had Zots to Tots, and I think the 60th anniversary kind of says that, or in terms of the year anyway, and it's not a Zots to Tots hat anymore, and that's okay, and because by the way, there's only been hats in the last few years. Before that, it was T-shirts, and
Oh,
and it was so. Yeah, and I think we should just do whatever we want to wear, whatever we think everybody
Okay.
would like to have. That's it. That's the key.
I think most people wear
Okay.
hats. I want the visor.
okay, John, I know you can't see this, you're on your phone, but.
No, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the current,
Budget.
budget.
Gotta
and
add that
funds.
$300 though.
It's actually the expense. I don't have the band in here yet. That's 300 at least. And this is what we're looking at right now.
Wow. Wow.
But our budget for the total of the picnic and Zots was 25,000. So even with the additional 1,600, which I put in here, this 6,200 is the amount with 2024 in it. We are still barely under budget. Now, I'm not saying we have to spend every penny of our budget. And what also is not in here is Zots to Tots entry fees. Now, we're never given credit for this against
Oh.
our budget, just like we're not given credit for classes, but it is
Oh,
money
yeah.
that we bring into the town. That
Right.
nets again what these expenses are. And John, you think that's probably about 6,000?
Yes.
Yeah, which roughly pays for
All right,
No. the hats.
I take it back. Zots to Tots 2024 on the back of those hats.
You take it back, you want it?
Yeah.
Okay. I want it too. So are there any comments from the public?
I just have one comment, and this
Yeah.
isn't a big deal. As I said, I can go either way. Will more people wear them after Zots to Tots if they don't say Zots to Tots on them? Or is it just gonna be the same? It probably doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying is the 60th anniversary can appeal to more. This is the logic, but I'm not sure it makes sense to more people, more community members than having Zots to Tots on it. But
But we give-
it doesn't matter.
The people, I think you're immortalizing the hats too much.
Are we,
It's a
are we giving
hat.
everybody who shows up hats?
No, we are not.
We're giving hats to Zots to Tots runners, right?
Right.
And
Well, then put
The
Zots to
thinking
Tots
was-
2024 on it.
Dave, that's too simple.
the thinking was,
Why
however,
they hate me at work.
that because it's such a cool hat, and if we added 2024 on it, that we
But
would
it's
order
gonna-
more and sell them at the picnic.
I think that's a good idea, actually.
Oh,
I don't know, would people buy them? Yes,
No.
people buy everything, they do.
I actually think we're going to hand out about 400 hats, and we'll sell about 50, for like $15. That's why I think 90% of it, whatever it is, will be Zots to Tots. People will be fine, if they just get a hat that's the 60th anniversary. It's a beautiful hat, and I love it. If it says Zots to Tots, it'll be like they'll go, okay, good, that's my Zots to Tots hat.
they can
It's-
pick it out, pick the embroidery out if they need to.
right. I could probably make 50 without it. I'll see if it adds anything by them having to
let's
separate
all-
it out. Probably not. Probably not.
Let's all
It-
meet at John's house the night before, and we'll Sharpie Zots to Tots.
Right. Yeah.
I think we need to keep it simple. So
I agree.
pick one
Okay.
thing and go with
Yeah,
that.
Let's take a vote. Okay. All those in favor of putting nothing more on the hat, raise their hand. John, I can't see your hand.
Yeah, I'll go with it. What everybody else's
I'm gonna
vote.
go with it
All those
as
in
it is.
favor, what?
I'm going with, leave it as it is.
So no, nothing more,
No, just the logo.
just the logo. Okay, logo is one. All those in favor of just 2024?
Just 2024?
Well, I mean, adding 2024.
Oh.
Would you,
But not Zots
do you
to
mean
Tots.
adding, wait, do you mean adding Zots to Tots 2024 or
No,
just,
No,
2024.
2024.
I kind of like that one. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we're gonna have a time.
We're gonna have.
Should we be doing this
All
ranked choice
those in
voting?
favor of Zots to Tots and 2024. John, is your hand raised?
I don't know. What's the score without me? Because I would love to be the
I can't-
tiebreaker.
It's 1-2 for Zots to Tots 2024 versus
Okay,
just
well-
2024.
and I'll go with that too because it's Zots to Tots is what we're handing it out for.
No.
No, that's 2-2,
not
Cindy.
true.
I don't know.
Read
Two
those two
Zots to
choices,
Tots.
which do you like
No,
more?
no.
To one.
Zots to Tots 2024.
Well,
Zots
then
to
we've
Tots.
got a tie.
Right,
Then
so
we
now
got
it
a
goes back
tie.
to Cindy. She has to rank choice vote
And
it.
Cindy,
Okay,
What?
good.
you have to break the tie.
I have to break the tie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I can
So,
have my 13-year-old daughter come in.
on the front,
No,
we're
you
gonna
guys-
have the pretty
This
logo.
is not big a decision. Can we just go, let's just keep moving.
Okay,
let's talk about
Zasatots
it.
2024 on the back.
Fine.
Good choice, Cindy.
Just do it. I mean, shut up.
You want another pickleball court line? Let's go.
Okay,
I'm
pickleball
with
court.
you.
So how much did Dave say he'd pay you for that? I'm kidding, just kidding.
I mean, if we're gonna go
Okay,
something on the back, go all
is
the
there
way.
anything else with the hats?
Oh, I should have asked though, does it cost more than $4 to have all that put on rather than just the 2024?
No, strangely, it's the same. You put something on the back and it's $4. Doesn't matter
Setup.
what you, doesn't matter
Oh.
what you put on the back.
Well, then that's a no-brainer, Zasatots 2024.
Okay, all right, good. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Please,
All right,
please.
yeah, okay, the 60th anniversary event. I do not have an update. I'm still working on it. Just got, okay, the other thing I saw was, Woodside High School robotics team made a proposal or asked for permission to set up a booth at the picnic to show what their robotics team does, which is, if you've never seen it, is
Pretty cool.
so freaking cool, is just amazing.
Yeah.
But so a couple of thoughts that I had is, number one, it would be kind of cool. Number two, you know, would it open us up to, you know, would we have to reach out to the other schools, see if they wanted to do something, you know, so that we not showing any favoritism, anything like that.
Not showing any favoritism to the public high school that our kids go to.
Well, but what about our public middle school? What
Oh,
about the
no.
private?
They don't have a
schools?
robotics program.
Well, I think they have, if they have one, an after school one. What about Priory? Should we allow Priory to come in? Anyway, that's just one thing I thought of. Anyway, I sent it out. What are the thoughts that the team has?
I wouldn't think that reaching out, I don't think you need to do. If they find out and want to apply, I mean, did we reach out to Woodside Robotics?
No,
They reached out to us.
they heard, yeah, they did.
Then I would leave it be.
Okay.
If someone else wants to.
Yeah,
then
if,
we'll
if they're like,
discuss.
man, we should have had a booth, then come next year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
We'll probably let you in.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Unless you bring a hat, you gotta have a hat.
So, and I also think that you know, when we think about this picnic and it for the youth, I think that it's an inspirational sort of thing for kids to see and realizing that's something they might want to do. And it is kids, older kids showing younger kids, right? We're not talking about,
Adults.
you know,
no.
a commercial business adults kind of thing. So I think there's merit in the idea. I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
John, what did you think?
John?
He's still moping about the hats.
No, he won. He shouldn't be moping. He's celebrating.
That's right. He's pouring a glass of wine. John,
He's not here.
okay. Does any member of the public have a comment? Betsy, Carolyn, and Peter are going, does this committee ever get any real work done?
Yes, we do.
Yes,
do.
the picnic is gonna
Okay.
happen thanks to the.
All
efforts.
right, I'm gonna take a vote then without John's. All those in favor of allowing Woodside High robotics team to have a booth at the picnic?
I,
Okay.
I,
Is all they need a booth? Or are they gonna run the robot?
I hope they run the robots. It's
Oh,
so
they'll run the
fun.
robots. Yeah,
Is the grass okay, or do they need a place to do that?
I'm sure my son, they set it up. We gave them tables and they set up their course on the table.
This robot is not gonna be on tables.
Well, it depends on how big
Robots
they are.
aren't.
If it's their first robotics robot, it's like a 2.5 by 2.5 robot. It's a big robot.
Well, it depends. I'll ask him. My son, the robots are only about 12 inches high.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's not the robot.
Okay, I'll ask him then. I'll ask him what he needs, you know.
Yeah, that'd be good to
Who's
know.
who's the guy?
Who's the guy?
Yeah,
Uh,
is it Bloom?
no, it's,
Okay.
I have to find it.
Mhm. I don't have any pictures of
Shivani,
the sense of scale.
Shivani Nautiel.
Is that the kid? Or is that
No,
the parent?
He's a parent mentor
Okay.
for the Woodside High School
Okay.
robotics team. Okay, I'll reach out to him, assuming it's a him. Okay, I think that's everything on the picnic.
Yay.
The only thing I do not have scheduled, obviously we're working on the band, is the food truck. And I probably, we have the Boy Scouts coming in to do their hamburgers. And then last year I had a food truck with Mexican food, which I think I'll go for again this year. I think that's all the food we need, unless anybody has any other thoughts or ideas. And I'm not doing ice cream. End of
Well, the
discussion.
library does, and the library does, so it's fine.
I'm not doing it. Any other questions?
Tell us where we are expected to be, when?
What?
Will you tell us where we're expected to be? I mean, are we supposed to work there?
Do you want to work? I thought you were doing the light.
I
Aren't
do
you
do the
doing-
library, but I think I have like a 2-hour shift, so I mean, it's,
I don't know. Nobody needs to work. We're fine.
okay. Just checking.
Unless we're selling hats, which I guess we're not.
Okay,
Thank you.
I found a good picture. Can I share my screen for a second?
Yeah.
Can everyone see this picture of the robot with this young kneeling by it?
Oh, okay. This is a very, very different robotics
Yeah,
program than my son was involved
so it's a big robot. I'm
That's
not, and
very
I'm not saying
cool.
we shouldn't have him. I'm just saying it's not gonna drive on tables.
in. Okay, I completely agree with you on that. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, are we done with the picnic?
Yeah,
Okay. Game night update.
do we have anything?
Well, someone said they looked into the single bingo. Who said they looked into it?
After John presented it, I went and looked at Singo, and then there's also other options like that or making your own. But I personally like the idea because it's like name that tune and bingo combined, and it's a community event night, and it's different than trivia. I mean, I still think we need to do a trivia night within the year timeframe, but it's I like the idea, and it is much simpler because you print out bingo cards and you have this program that plays the songs, and you take it from there. So it's a lot less expensive and less complex than the casino night would be.
Do you have to buy anything or can you play the songs like online?
Well, you can buy a kit and it's not that expensive. I can't remember what it was, like, I can look it up. But doing it where you do your own and you play your songs, remember the bingo cards all need to be different. So that's what would be complex, doing your own bingo cards. Whereas when you buy the program, they'll print out a different number of bingo cards for you. So I don't know how you would make the bingo cards. There must be a random program for it, but it's not something
Bingo.
I have the capability of doing. It's called Singo, yeah, Singo.com, and there's some other ones like it as well. And I thought it was $50. I hate to say this because I don't want to be wrong, but Dave,
I'd
you're
like to
looking
put it
at
on
it.
my
It was like,
spreadsheet where I have all the others. So if we could get a price for what you think that is, then we can compare.
Yeah, it was like
Or
$50 for 8 games or something like that.
8 games?
Yeah,
For
I
eight
think
for
this
over
is
how many
almost free. I mean, if you can
Yeah.
imagine, it's like feels like you can just do it on your own, but I'm
Well,
sure
who's
this
gonna
is
make
like
those
almost
cards?
nothing.
Not me.
Well, no, the bingo, you can buy the bingo cards, and again, I think
With the
$50
songs?
sounds right. It's just like nothing compared to the other thing. I mean, at least a poker night or whatever it is, a
Yeah, but the
gambling night.
bingo and all that wasn't
So
expensive.
I'm at
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave?
Dave,
I'm
Yeah,
at bingosingo.com products. The 2000s game pack for 100 cards is $75. And it comes
Okay.
with the cards and a link to a Spotify playlist and
Very-
instructions.
Oh, okay, Spotify playlist. That
and
makes
and
sense.
I think it's 8 games so that you get 8, if you will, because you can play diagonal and fill the card and do whatever. I think it's something like that. I thought I read that, but
That might be
I didn't take copious notes.
singobingo.com instead of bingosingo.com.
That's
Maybe.
definitely the
Okay,
cheapest.
so instead of us trying to all Google it, Cindy, since
Yeah.
you took the lead, can you look into what the options are for Cinco?
I will,
Bingo?
okay, because I did the
And
Bunko, so far Bunko's the cheapest. Wasn't that you, John, that mentioned that one?
we're not doing bunco. We're
I
doing
know we're
Cinco.
not.
So let's look at Cinco
I
Bingo.
didn't either. I don't even know what it is actually,
I'm
frankly.
gonna add it into my spreadsheet right now, Singo
So-
Bingo, right? Okay,
But come back in August. Let's talk about it. See if we can get
Okay.
it on the schedule and move ahead.
will do.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Go
right.
ahead, I like it.
Okay. I like it too. Sounds fun. Okay, discuss Hawthorne's property planning status. Karen, you want to give us an update?
Well, yeah, so there's no update from last month regarding the ad hoc, the public access working group. They finished, they had their recommendations. We talked about that's in the minutes, that the trails will be open for hiking and biking and horses. But what has happened since our last meeting is the board met for a study session. It wasn't even a study session, I wouldn't even call it, but to discuss I'm going to share my screen to discuss the historic complex and at a very high level, the visions and goals. So let me just share my screen. I think I have this up. And if you can read this, let me move that. This board approved, sorry, I want to go to the goals. They stayed at a very high level, and the goals that they have now for the historic complex, they've had an ad hoc group just of Mid-Penn folks looking at it and looking at the conservation easement and the artifacts they've found there and all sorts of things. And essentially the goals are to integrate with the Hawthorne's area plan and its vision and goals, which is great because that's what the ad hoc committee wanted. They wanted them done all together. We thought that was taking a holistic approach was important. There are 4 structures in the historic complex that have historical significance, and those are the mansion, the garage, the covered barn, and the cottage. And so they want to make sure that they do whatever they need to do for those with historical significance. And obviously be consistent with the conservation easement. They want to balance the potential uses, improvements, and programs for the historic complex with the district's mission and where future uses could achieve multiple goals. They want to obviously balance long-term financial and operational sustainability. They are looking at, and this was listed in their minutes, they're looking at a partnership with the Willow Commons community to have some kind of programming there as well as for the community at large. So, and they're looking at, this is a diversity, equity, and inclusion goal. And they want obviously safe access and a good neighbor policy. And they want the public to be able to learn about the site's history and stories and have interpretive elements. So these are all things that we had, the ad hoc committee had discussed and requested. They have found artifacts from the Native American community, and they want to make sure that they engage with the indigenous groups and they figure out how to advance the understanding of that history around Hawthorns and Portola Valley. Interestingly, on the list, consider housing, either short or long-term, that supports the district's mission. And then this one, number 9, basically ties back with number 1, which is incorporating historic complex holistically within the overall Hawthorns plan. This was a presentation more or less just about that. There wasn't a whole lot more detail. There was a lot of kudos from the board for the ad hoc committee. And there was a discussion of having the PV community, having a session similar to what they did with the other piece of the Hawthorns property to get community feedback. And essentially the next steps are at the August 28th board meeting of MidPen. They are looking for the approval of the vision and goals. And then there'll be a high-level feasibility assessment done and a study session. And then in December, they'll present findings to the board. And these are just of the findings. And then in January, the board will vote. So again, this is a process just to get kind of the direction and the vision going. So I don't know if anyone has any questions on that.
No.
Yeah, I was there, it's pretty non-eventful. The only thing they also did was they approved, and I don't have it in front of me, but it was some amount of money, I think about $500,000, to actually demolish several of the buildings and structures in the historical complex that do not support those goals that Karen just went over, and or are so dangerous and not capable of being restored. So they are going to be doing some destruction up there. So people see that, but those are limited to those buildings that Karen did not outline up there. Karen, that's correct, right? You're on mute.
Yes, that's correct. I only attended the study session, and that what Patty just discussed was on the consent agenda in the board meeting, and I can pull that up if you guys are interested in it. It was interesting. So let me
Well, wait, Karen, no, if I could.
We don't need to.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, this is getting into not really a Parks and Rec, thing.
True.
But it is, information and visibility to all of us, which I think is important. But I'd kind of like to stick to Parks and Rec stuff here tonight. So.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
How do you see that hand raised on Zoom?
I do. I'm waiting for the committee.
Sorry.
Any other comments for the committee? Okay, Carolyn?
Carolyn?
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Well, the reason why I sent these meetings is because it's through these meetings that we hear and we find the updates. So a PPPS, so the Bike Pedestrian Traffic Safety, did not have any meetings in July, and hopefully we will have one in August. But it was very kind of surprising that they suddenly decided to have entrance number 10 as their entrance, and which is at the crosswalk of Alpine and Portola Road. And there's so many issues there that we have been trying to resolve, and so now it all comes up. So yeah, we will have to work through it, but it's not going to be easy, especially we need Sarah to be involved because she's the liaison with the schools, and the schools don't know if they will keep the guards that they have currently. Yeah, that's why I participate in these meetings. Sometimes you have a purview, but you also need to understand what's going on beyond your own purview to make a consent decision. So I really appreciate it. There's many concerns with this new development, and hopefully we can collaborate, but all stakeholders have to be informed and all stakeholders have to be part of the decision making. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree, Carolyn. Just to be clear though, the POG voted to recommend, they put forward both parking areas number 9 and 10. They didn't decide on 10. I mean, but it was one of the ones that they wanted to push forward. But, you know, we'll see what happens in the next round. Okay, anything else on Hawthorne's?
By the way, I just want to concur with that. That's such a huge deal to open up that intersection there. It's a massive deal. So thank you for everybody who's keeping us up to date with that. And please let us know if that's getting to a point where that's going to be decided, because I just think it's a huge deal to open up that intersection.
Karen, you may want to
Yeah.
go through what the next are for that.
So my understanding, but I think it's a good thing, I will make a note that I follow up on this to make sure this is still happening. But my understanding is that the POG recommendations went to this group at MidPenn called the PNR, which I think stands for
Planning and Resources.
Planning and Natural Resources. Yeah. And then with these 2 recommendations, and then Planning and Natural Resources is going to, I'm going to get this mixed up. All I will tell you that in somewhere in the process, which is supposed to be September in the last timeline I saw, there's going to be a study session with the Portola Valley Town Council, and that's a public meeting. And that's going to be a time when people can provide input. I personally am also getting the impression that they'll probably present 2 options, that they won't just present one option at that point in time. But again, people might have read it differently, so that is going to be the time when our next time when we can actually speak up about, and we'll have to wait till the materials come out and all of that. But I'm going to follow up and make sure it's on the calendar for September, and then I'll let you guys all know in August when it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Gee, do we have any town court outstanding topics?
The
Anybody know?
courts? Oh, yeah.
Just kidding. Okay. Let me go to well, okay. Do you want to do the first one? Let's put it there first one. You're the one that wanted to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, so I need to give you a little bit of history on the pickleball courts and how they've developed and where we are now, and why we need a little bit of a change right now. So we started in March 1919 with a demo day where 48 people signed up, which was a horrendous number for me to handle, but we divided into 16 groups. We managed. Then there was clearly interest for playing pickleball in town, so we started doing like 3 days a week. Anyway, it's grown over time, and it grew very quickly into 5 days a week to 6 days to 7 days. In February 2020, the town agreed to paint pickleball lines. Until that point, we were taping them with painter's tape to make the courts. So for a year we taped, then the town painted blue lines on court 1. A year later, they painted blue lines on court 2. A year later from that, they painted all the blue lines yellow because we couldn't see the blue lines. They were such a very light blue and blended into the courts. So now we have this, the courts are yellow. Then Patty and I went to the town council. When did we go there?
About a year ago, I think.
Yeah, February 2023, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, and proposed dedicated courts because we have a very, very large number of pickleball players, and contrary to popular opinion, most of them are Portola Valley residents. So we wanted the permanent courts, but because Corte Madera School uses the courts, you know, for a couple of months during the year and needed 2 tennis courts together, they didn't want to break that. But they agreed to buy us rolling nets so that we didn't have to take up and break down the nets every time we played because we're there every day. So we've got these rolling nets, and even though we wanted the outdoor rolling nets, they got us the indoor rolling nets, which of course are broken down, and they are not, we need to replace them. They're rusted, their nets are in terrible condition, they're not meant to be outdoors. And we, at one point when, about a year ago, we asked Howard if we could leave the nets up because we have priority on court 1. Pickleball has priority on court 1. We left the rolling nets out Monday through Friday all week and waited for complaints. Nobody complained in 5 months. Then Howard said, well, you need to see if it's spring and summer, if more tennis players will come and somebody will complain. So we've had those rolling nets up Monday through Friday, all day, every day for the last 9 months. And no one has complained. So I think it's time to say we need to make those into a permanent court. But I want to adjust how that permanent court is done. We don't need to make them permanent courts. We need to make them permanent for us for now. And that just requires paint, and the club will buy the expensive nets because I know the town doesn't have the budget or want to, but the pickleball players do want the good nets. And those good nets are on wheels that aren't very mobile, but they're more mobile than the ones we have that are indoor courts. So I don't know what we have to do now to get approval to do that. If we're going to paint court 3, why can't we also paint court 1, leave court 2 as a blended court for both? Because once court 3, tennis players are now playing on court 3 voluntarily because they like being away from us. I think that's what it is. Anyway, if we're going to paint court 3, which I don't know when that's going to happen, do you, Patty?
That's next. Just hold that thought.
Hold that thought. Okay, so court 3 needs painting. Why don't we paint court 2, let the club buy the newer nets, and just use that
You mean
second
court 1?
Court 1, sorry, and court 2 be just the blended court, either tennis or pickleball, as it is now. That's
So
what
what you're proposing is that we paint court 1 so that we paint over the tennis lines.
No tennis
and
lines on
only-
court 1.
No tennis lines on court 1. Court 2 would have blended lines, both.
Yes, both.
And court 3 would
Tennis
have
only.
tennis and basketball.
And just the basketball ends.
Yeah, just the basketball net. And that
So-
hold on a second.
Yep,
And
I'll wait,
that
okay.
hold on. And that the pickleball club would buy new nets,
Yes,
which are rollable, but certainly more hardy than the ones we have now, so that for all intents and purposes, they would be left up permanently.
they will be left up permanently because they're not easy to move. They can be moved, but they're not easy to move. So these okay, so the rolling nets that we have that the town bought are $400, $450 a piece. The nets that we want are $2,000 a piece. These are proper tennis nets on big sturdy wheels. So you can get them out there with a couple of people, but you don't want to move them a lot. But you can move them if you want. So what I'm proposing is to not drill holes, not make it permanent forever, you know, with all this changing. Leave the tennis net where it is. It can be a good backstop, and just let us put the nets out there. Just paint it for us.
Okay.
But would the tennis still be painted on that court or no?
No,
So you,
no,
so
they'd
you'd
have
be,
court 2 and 3.
you would be dedicated. Court 1 would be dedicated pickleball court.
Right, and court 3 would be dedicated tennis with basketball.
Court 3 has, court
Understood.
3 shares with basketball, and court
Yes.
2 shares pickleball and tennis.
Correct.
So tennis doesn't have a dedicated court.
not totally
Well, no.
dedicated.
No, but they'd be losing court 1, but they sort of gaining court 3. They've
They
already
have
got
court
court
two
3.
anytime they want it. They have priority.
Understood. Yeah, but they're losing court 1,
Yeah,
and we've added court 3 already.
yeah, we added court 3.
Right. So you're saying, first of all, you're saying that people are using. I've never seen a tennis play court 3. I've seen a lot of basketball. Half
Now
court.
they're starting to play there because we put the tennis net up. There was no net.
Yeah, understood.
So Justin
And
put the net up.
I've said many times, I've talked to the basketball people many times. Every time I go by,
Yeah,
I say, "Is this tennis net a problem for you?" And they say no.
and no, it's
Because
not a problem.
because
And I
nobody's
know
playing
that
full
because they only
court.
like the ends. They don't like
Yeah.
don't
And
ever
in
play
fact-
full court.
And they actually like now the other end. They used to only play at the end facing the horse park
Yes.
there because that's all they had because the skateboard ramp was the only other. And now they play almost if they have a first choice, it's the other side.
It's exclusively at the other side.
Yeah, I think it's because of the way the sun is facing. That's all. They're not looking into the sun. They're looking away
Also,
from the
that
sun.
the leaves from that tree that's in that corner puts a
Yeah,
huge pile of detritus on or
Sure.
debris on that section of the court, but not on the other.
Understood.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a really good solution.
Other
So-
comments? Other
Yeah,
comments
well,
from
I
the
want to
committee?
ask about because I feel like there's two parts to this. One is that we are basically saying the tennis people are not going to play on court 1 at all, and the other part is that you're changing the nets. So the only part I don't fully understand is the difference between the nets that are there and the nets you're going to be getting. Because I thought those are really solid nets that we got you, or
No,
we-
they're cheap indoor courts, and you look at anything that says about them, they say, do not store them outside. We store them
He was
outside. Now
asking
they're
if you
rusted, they're
were
breaking
available
down.
If you're home.
Caroline, Caroline,
Cindy,
you
Yeah.
need to
Cindy?
mute yourself.
I what?
so I want to back up on the nets. Because are there 2 different types of nets? Because there's 8 total nets, right?
We have 3 types of nets actually, but one are
But-
rolling nets, which means we roll them in and out, so we don't have to take them up and break them down. We just roll them in and out.
And are those the ones you're talking about that are rusting?
Those are the ones that are breaking down, yes.
Okay. And the other ones are the
The
ones that you
temporary
have to
nets
set
we
up with
store
the,
inside.
right.
We always
Okay.
put them in a
I just
bag.
want-
They never are weathered. So they're
Okay,
nets.
I just
Those-
wanted to make sure I
Yes.
had the,
I've had
right
some of those
understanding of
nets
which nets.
5 years and they have not broken down because they're not outside all day, all night.
what are the nets that Alpine Hills has that you can roll onto court 11?
The cheap ones.
Okay,
They're on their second set already too.
by the way, also beyond that, they've actually are taken off the lines on that court that they were used for. So Alpine Hills have
Yeah.
moved away from using those. I don't know how much they were really being used, but I think what happened there is that there was a certain group that that just liked that court for whatever reason. They really liked the court that was painted. It ultimately was painted with the pickleball
Because of the
lines,
sun.
and
sun.
yeah, well, yeah, I think they don't like being down below with everybody else. Anyway, and they've decided to take away the lines, so it's those are now gone. Even the nets doesn't matter what they use because they're not going to use them anymore. They're taking away the lines.
Yeah.
So they have three dedicated pickleball courts at Alpine Hills now, and that's it. Not that they use the other ones a lot. It was kind of like if there was excess and it wasn't a whole lot, but
They use
anyway,
them for functions.
right, exactly, right.
So
So
you're
when they
saying,
wanted to have more
Cindy,
than 3 courts.
you're saying
Yes.
that the pickleball players would chip in $8,000 to buy their own nets.
Absolutely.
I have no doubt about that.
There's no doubt. There are people that would pay to
Yeah,
build
that's
courts.
like
You
one.
have no
That's
idea.
like one person
Yeah.
that would volunteer to do that.
Okay, Karen,
so I have 2 thoughts. The first one is that I think that whatever proposal we come up with, we should be running it by the public and get the public feedback, just like we did when we had the change to the court usage policy.
Mhm.
I don't think we should make the decision here in
Oh,
a
no, I
bubble.
don't either. I need to bring it up.
We can't make this decision anyway.
I think that's a town
Yeah.
council one,
This
isn't
would
it?
have to go to the town council.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is.
Well,
just-
part of this
This
is
is
town
just the start of
council.
the process.
I don't think the nets are town council. It's just the dedicated court, court one,
The
No,
painting.
it's the painting.
the
because
painting part.
that's
Yeah,
an
but that's the only
expense.
part, because I felt like there was two parts of this, right? There was the painting and then there were the nets.
We
I feel
don't
like
want the
the-
cheap nets anymore. We want
There's a
good nets.
policy.
But you can
function,
replace the nets.
which
You
is-
can replace the nets on your own. You're gonna pay for it.
No,
Right.
we can't
Okay.
replace the nets on our own because the town
Why?
bought those nets for us and they
Mm.
expect us to move them off. And if I have these better nets, I'm not going to want to move them off. So we've been
Okay.
doing this test to say, does anybody care if we leave the nets up here all week? Nobody cares. So why
But
can't
that's just,
we buy the
that's just
better
court
net?
one. That's just court
Yes,
one
it's
we're
just
talking about.
court one.
Yeah,
It's
so we're talking-
just court one.
Court one. Making court one dedicated pickleball, court one.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so my other question is that I know that there are a number of non-residents in the club, if
Uh-huh.
you will. And I guess there was somebody the other day, they were telling me that they used to play at Mitchell Park, but now they're at Portola Valley because Mitchell Park's gotten too crowded.
Uh-huh.
And so my question is, if we have members of the club that are non-residents that are paying for the net, are we, I don't know how to say this, but are we putting residents first, or are we now
We can
doing something?
require
It's a-
that
it's a
only
question.
residents can donate. I mean, we can
It's-
have only residents buy. We
Well,
have
it's
plenty of
just-
residents.
it's a question. And it's just one that I think we just kind of need to think through some of those issues as the popularity of the courts gets greater and greater. So I'm just throwing it out there because we're discussing.
I don't know what you're throwing out though. I mean, are you asking me, I mean, I can say only residents can donate, or I don't know. What is that? Do you think that would really be an issue? That if a person from Menlo Park
Well,
donated money, or Atherton?
I think,
or out-
so Cindy,
Los
I
Altos
know that
Hills?
you've looked at the numbers of the people in the
I do.
pickleball club and the percentages. And I guess the question is are we continuing to look at those? Because it's all hearsay for me. I am not involved, that there's more non-residents that are coming over. I don't know if that's true or not.
It's
So
not
it's
true.
more,
But I will tell you what is true is that a very large number of non-residents come to take me and my classes at the Parks and Rec. And if you might know that we are the only element anywhere making any money for those courts. And we make a lot of money for those courts from our classes and from our pickleball clinics and all this, thousands of dollars every year. So yeah, those are non-residents, but what they do is they come and they learn here. And then they go to their home courts, and that's where they play. So Neelum Park has courts, Red Morton Park has courts, Mitchell Park has courts. And yes, that's too crowded. People don't go there as much as they used to, but just about everywhere else has home courts now. People have joined Kenyatta College. Do you know? I mean, there's just a huge number of pickleball courts. So they come, they learn, they leave. And I think
yeah,
that's
and
great.
my understanding is when I was looking at things, and this might have been, this is old data. It was before you were here, there were court usage fees. And it was a lower price for residents than there are for non-residents, but we can't really implement that. We don't have the infrastructure to do something like
No.
that, nor would we want to. So
But we do
I'm
that
not,
for
again,
classes.
I personally, I think that if we get the data and it supports it, I would support it. I'm just throwing out the things that I think we need to be thinking about.
Okay, so,
So I
You
think
want the
we
numbers?
need the data.
okay,
What I struggle with, I mean, these are public courts.
yes.
Even if we didn't have pickleball, people from Menlo Park could come play tennis here.
Yes, they can.
I mean, it's a public court.
Woodside people come and play tennis there.
Yeah. I don't know how you police it, for lack of a better word. But to your point, I do think, given that we are gonna have to take this to the public, I agree, and to the town council, that we are gonna have to have data to back this up. I do agree also that we don't have any way to police it. We just don't.
No, but I do have all the names and I have all their cities of residence. I have all the data, so
Yeah, I
it's
know,
fine.
I know, but we don't have any way to log who's playing. We just know who's registered.
That's true. I know who donates, that's bigger, but
know.
I have donors who don't play here because they just support pickleball.
I
mean,
know.
that's
So
amazing.
if this moves forward, Cindy, we're gonna have to think about how to present the data.
To present the
And I
data
do
into the
think-
town, right? To the town.
Yes,
I mean,
to the public
publish it
and to the
the
town.
public.
Yes.
Okay, no, that's good.
Dave, did you have any comments?
Would we ever want to give paint bad quality tennis lines on it? Kind of reverse the priority of the lines?
If you did, it's just paint. I don't want to drill holes. I don't want to make that big of a change.
No. So instead of like right now, like the tennis lines are a little better than the pickleball lines, right?
I think
Yeah,
the pickleball are better than the tennis now.
They
because
are
of
right now.
yellow. Yeah,
Tennis players complain about them all the time.
yeah. But there are
Alright.
very few tennis players that don't belong to one of the clubs in the area.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody from the committee have any other?
I
comments or
actually just
questions?
want to, I kind of want to be really clear about what we're really proposing here, frankly, and it's not 100% clear to me. And so if we can simplify,
Well, we
so just
haven't-
say again
We haven't
what's
proposed
happening.
anything yet, John.
I
We're
know,
just
but that's what I
discussing.
want to hear from Cindy. So first of all, what's on court one? Is the tennis net still there?
The tennis net will
Yes.
stay there forever.
And will the tennis lines be there?
No,
No,
So, okay, that's one. So we're talking about removing the tennis lines, which doesn't allow you to play tennis
correct,
on that court one, even though the tennis net will still be there.
correct.
Yeah, so, okay, so that's interesting.
Well, that's
And
why
you
we
can't-
put
you-
the tennis net on court 3, so there would be 2 courts.
I understand, but you're keeping the
Okay.
tennis net up
it's a nice
to
backdrop.
do what? Is that
Backdrop.
why?
It's a
Is it,
backdrop.
is it because you just don't
Backdrop.
want to remove it?
And if we
It's-
all die, all the pickleball players die and go to heaven, then you can put it back into a tennis court without drilling any more holes
Right.
and putting up a
So,
new net.
so what's so bad about leaving tennis lines up?
I don't think there's anything bad, but if I have nets that I can't really move, why?
Well, the tennis net is up, you're saying though.
No,
Right, so
no,
this is-
if I have pickleball nets that I can't really move easily without 3 people. why would
Understood.
I leave
So
the
you can't
lines
play
there?
tennis anyway. So
You
this
wouldn't be able to
why,
play.
again, by the way, I think when we go to the town council, I do think they're gonna be a little bit confused about, and this is what I think happened when we were even proposing permanent pickleball. I think they were just not ready for it. So, and they knew that there was this middle school tennis that wanted to still play there, but they just weren't ready to commit. And I'm not even sure they know what they're committing to. So on on court 1, what we're talking about is you can't. We're going to remove we're going to leave the tennis net up, I guess, just to block pickleball balls. I'm not sure why the tennis net is up at all, because we're going to remove the tennis lines, right? So you're
Because
not
of
going
the
to play there
backdrop.
anyway.
It's a good, we need a fence there. I don't want to put a fence in, leave the
Yeah.
tennis
So,
net.
so your fence is because there's
tennis net.
already a tennis net.
Yes,
That's now your fence.
yes.
Okay, but I hope you appreciate that. I think some people aren't going to understand this. Okay, and
Probably
so
true.
that's where I'm coming from. It's just like, okay, so we're leaving a tennis net up, but no tennis lines, because it's just the tennis net is just like this barrier between pickleball courts,
Correct.
which I understand, you know, totally, but it's not obvious, I don't think, to say you're keeping a tennis net up and you're taking away the lines.
Well, also to make it
But
easier
anyway.
if they ever did want to convert back to tennis.
Exactly, understood. So anyway, but
But I
nonetheless,
think that's a good explanation too.
right. So, but there's dedicated pickleball courts by the lines, but they're not dedicated nets because you still have rolling nets, right? They're just
They're
better
rolling, but
nets.
they're not really rolling. I don't know how to describe that. These are very, very heavy nets,
I understand they're better nets.
way
They're
better.
they're yeah, but so they're not really movable. So
No, correct.
they're not like implanted like at Alpine Hills or even the
Exactly. I don't drill
tennis
holes.
nets. Right, they're not the tennis nets
Right.
even at Alpine at the town center. They're just like really, they're not really movable, but they're
Right.
not implanted. So,
Right.
but anyway, and part of me going through this is because you know this is there's a lot of subtleties here. I
Yes.
think, right? So and I that was the problem the first because we came to them the last time where it was too much for them. It was like we're going to dedicated pickleball courts, and they weren't ready, especially with a kind of this middle school B team tennis team that wanted to use them, right?
Right.
So anyway, so okay, so that's where we are. That's fine. Um, so in court 2 doesn't change. Is there any
Doesn't change.
changes to court 2?
No changes.
And there's no changes to court 3.
Well, we put the
Then
tennis net up already.
yes,
And we're gonna paint it.
and we're gonna change the lines because we're gonna change the lines anyway because it's got all these
It's
crazy
got a
lines
lot of
in
weird
there.
lines.
Right. And all we need there, we need a tennis court there. And what else? And we need a 2 half court basketball
All the
lines.
basketball's staying there.
Yeah, I mean, might as well leave the full court, but there's no point in that because you can't play full court because
Well,
there's
no, I think our thought was to leave the 2 ends because that's where I see everyone playing. Almost everyone plays at one end or the
well,
other.
yeah, you need
Most
2 half courts. You need
Yeah, they're 2 half courts, and then the
Yeah.
2 side courts, people just shoot at those. They just do shooting stuff.
yeah, they don't even need
They
it
don't-
to be
yeah.
anyway, understood. So I just I think we have to be very clear. I think it's going to be a little confusing, frankly, to the town council. And so I understand it now, but I think we have to really get it down to something that they understand. And again, we can go through that. It is that court 1 turns into dedicated pickleball courts, but with rolling nets, but they're basically going to be permanent. Court 2 is the same as it is. And court 3 is the way it is now, except that we're going to take out some lines that are nobody even knows why they're there anyway.
Correct. I
Right,
think there's some tetherball lines or something.
exactly. We're going to take out the tetherball, and that's maybe how I should say it. We're taking out the tetherball lines because
And the
nobody
weird, there's some weird
knows why they're there.
other ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. go
So
ahead.
I think this is all good. It's just that I think we have to be really ready for a town council because last time they weren't. I actually think we didn't get through things because they just weren't ready for dedicated pickleball courts. There's a little bit of a middle school Franklin B team. I'm going to say that because that's what actually it is. It's the middle school B team wanted to get some courts, but they mostly just it was too much for them, too much change, and so and so as long as we have this mapped out and we prep them effectively, I think this is good. And maybe we can do for more. You know, again, we should think about that. You're talking about making a dedicated court in court 1 anyway. Why not go further and just put in real full term dedicated courts in court 1?
Because the expense is way more. And
It is, I know. Yep.
I really don't want to say, and we'll never go back to tennis. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. I really don't. And I don't
Yep.
want to make it any more difficult for the town than just paint.
Okay.
Okay, Karen,
Sounds like a good plan to me. Sounds like a
Okay.
great plan,
Do-
personally.
Karen,
Karen,
I want to follow up on one comment just to better understand it. Is somebody mentioned that court 3 has a lot of debris on it, how, does that impact the tennis players?
No.
Someone said it impacted basketball, but
It's up against the fence.
Yeah, only in that one corner for the basketball. If you go out there, you'll see
Okay.
how far the tennis line is in. So it hasn't
Okay.
impacted the tennis players at all.
Okay, Dave,
Well,
did
you-
you have a comment? Oh, sorry. Sorry, Karen. Go ahead.
no, but tennis, you play behind the baseline. So I just, again, it's
Oh,
not,
it's
even if
like
it's not on
12
the court.
feet. It's 12 feet. It's
Okay,
far,
okay,
far.
okay. And then after this discussion, I need to take a very quick break.
Okay.
Mother Nature's calling. Thank you.
David, go ahead.
Are you also gonna install, higher quality, I've seen you guys have those like little PVC pipe nets to keep balls managed?
Oh, the ball stops?
Yeah, are you gonna, will better ones of those be included, or who cares of that?
We
be part of
have
the
better
donation?
ones now.
All right,
Bob Adams and I made the first set and now I buy them.
okay, all right. But those would be there now permanently, same as the nets.
I'd like to have my, and I have to work on that, is to get people to remove those in the evenings because they really shouldn't be there other than when we're playing.
Alright.
And we have a space to store that stuff and it's a
Okay.
training issue that I have that with pickleball players not cleaning up after themselves. I
Right.
can work on that though.
Okay, actually, I think I'm gonna call a break because we talk about the court painting and then come back to this to get a proposal. So, 3-minute break.
Okay. What time is it? Oh, what time? Okay. Oh, goodness. How are you?
Dave, are you back? John, are you back?
No John, no Dave.
I'm here.
Oh, hi.
Let me know if I'm ever unmuted. It's actually a little risky. It's a little concerning.
We're sad that we can't see you.
Well,
Oh,
I'm not
I
sure.
could
I'm
I
not
could
sure I
change
wanna
that
know
now.
where you are then.
I'm
Uh,
back. I was at the softball field.
Yeah.
Late, again, I was still in the like seventh inning when you guys starting, so sorry. And then, at the end of the game, there's all these people around. So now I'm back home. I could put it on. I could put on video.
No, it's okay. All
Yeah.
right, Dave. All right. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So let's come back to this.
Okay.
I did get a quote from Justin on painting port number 3.
Oh, great.
$8,000
Ooh.
plus additional 2,000 if we want to fix the cracks.
So 10,000.
10,000.
That's
So that would be
nothing.
true of court 1 as well. Yeah. 10,000
Sorry, that's
for
nothing.
court.
It's a
How
lot
much-
to a town that already has a
I know it
$1.5
is.
million deficit.
I just paid like how many user fees did we just pay for all of these things? Anyway, okay.
I know.
Okay.
10,000 for
Anyway.
court.
Yeah, what ended up with that, by the way?
What?
Is that pickleball club that was reserving courts for league games, paying pickleball fees? Paying
They
user
do.
fees?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they are.
Then
Yes, they
pay-
are.
They pay a
then-
lot and we get, I think, from pickleball this year alone, the town's gotten about $10,000. They get
That's what I
nothing.
think. See,
Yeah.
$10,000 is, I mean, that's what they're paying. I know that's meant to cover other things, but I feel that that's what we're paying. That's all. Okay. Even the
Yeah.
pickleball people are paying that now.
Yeah, the pickleball people pay that, plus every clinic I run gets them about $3,000 and our classes get them a couple thousand every time. And
Yep,
it's just, it's a lot of money. So it's coming in, but I think that money doesn't go to Parks and Rec and it doesn't go to the courts. It goes to the general fund, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
So we don't actually get to say, oh, now we can spend that. So I'm pretty sure I can raise the funds to get the nets and the courts painted if we had to.
Yeah, but we shouldn't have.
I-
I feel
We
like,
shouldn't have to.
I feel like we're putting out a hat and we shouldn't have to put out a hat.
Yeah.
Is there a way, and I know this would take a long time, but number one, that we propose that the fees that come from field and court usage go to maintain the fields and the courts so that that money that we are getting goes back in,
we're
to
using.
from where it came. Yeah.
Sure be nice.
So
Because, I mean, we have
I
a lot.
Yeah. And I think we can make the argument that, the pickleball fees are now coming in and it was equivalent to this. And so it essentially is, I would call it self-funding. If we need $10,000 for court 3, it really is self-funded from the whatever we call those fees, the club
I
fees.
think the tennis people should pay for court 3. Teasing. They don't make any money. I wonder why no one teaches tennis
Yeah.
there. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I completely agree with that. I think that's a longer discussion
Mm.
with the town in terms of how they set up their financials. I guess I mean, I'd be happy to work with Cindy to come up with a representation of what we believe we are generating for the town and what we would like to have a say in how that money is spent. I
That's a
can't,
great approach.
I don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm happy to work on that as a proposal from this committee, if that's where we think we want to go.
I'm for that.
I like the idea.
I like that idea. I mean, we do earn money and it should go to what we use, one would hope.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, not the only thing. John, I think you had told me before that the field fees that the town collects do not completely cover
Yeah,
the cost of field maintenance. Is that correct?
Yes. So what happened is, and the courts are very different than the fields,
Yes.
but a long time ago, we increased the field use fees a lot, and it's still a major issue. And I want to kind of get into that, but the reason was because at the time, not only we were in there were financial issues in the town, and there probably still are, but we were only covering the field use fees were covering about 20% of the maintenance fees.
Wow.
And so I think it's a huge portion of that was in the fields is the water costs. So we had a goal of increasing it so that we would cover 50% of the costs, and that's what we went to. And so now we're at that what people perceive at least is a very high user fee cost, because when I still think people are shocked when I explain to people why it's $130 or $150 for per person per season. And I say, because $63 per person per season is user fees for the town. Just to use the fields, it's $63 per person.
Isn't it
Right,
93?
per season.
93.
So that's for it is 93 for clubs. It's for leagues, which is the soccer league and the softball league, and the men's league does play $93 per season per person. And I can tell you, even for them, they're like, it sounds like a massive amount. It used to be $15 per person, but for youth, it's much less than that. And we can get into this. Was something that we worked through probably 15 years ago. But for the youth, there's also leagues and clubs. So the clubs, I think, pay about 40, and I can't remember what it is, but that means kind of whatever UISA is now. Anyway, whatever they call that the Alpine or the Stanford club, and then the AYSO, I think it's still called that, is a lot less than that. It's like $15 or something per person per season. But frankly, it feels like a lot of money to players, because it's anyway, they don't, because they just charge some amount. They don't know why it's charged, but anyway, that's what it is. So anyway, so
for
sorry, go
pickleball,
ahead.
it's $25 per league for the league fee, and 93 for the town.
Right. So we should probably go back to that someday.
Maintain.
Right, exactly. And so at least the only thing that really was covering it for the fields was the water, because there's maintenance, there's people mowing the fields. Yeah. But we pay to line it, we pay to put the goals out there. They're not even paid for. and so we can go back to the courts and what they do for the courts. I think it's just resurfacing, actually, is the big
No, they
thing.
haven't done that in years, not in years.
I know, that's the issue.
They
So
don't
what
even
is it?
blow it off for us. They bought us a blower.
I know,
Well, this isn't
I know.
even resurfacing. This is just
No.
painting.
This is just painting.
This is just
Exactly.
painting.
So we have to come back to all of this. This is all just meant to try to get more money for the town, frankly, is the bottom
Yes.
line. So we can, one day I actually do think, I mean, it's a big part of what Parks and Rec is responsible for, is what should these user fees be? And I know the users feel like it's a
Oh.
huge amount, and I think the town feels like, well, we should increase it. One thing that the town did, and this is totally on the side, is they've increased them without telling us.
They did.
Telling Parks
They
and
did.
Rec, exactly, because
Yeah.
they feel like they need to. But anyway, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
We can go back to where we were talking about, but we should one day we should revisit user fees and what's really appropriate.
Yeah. Well, okay,
go
what
on,
we were
go
talking
on,
about
go on.
is two things. One is kind of coming up with a representation of the revenue that we generate from Parks and Rec, and what we would like to propose, at least partially use some of those funds to help put back in to the facilities that we, that we use. I mean, for field fees, they are using the fees. They're mowing, they're watering, they're lining, they are using them to upgrade and maintain the fields. For the courts, they're not really doing anything.
No, nothing.
So that money's not being used.
So I should
So-
put together a document that
Well-
says
Yeah,
what's
so-
earned.
So here's a proposal.
Hmm.
Cindy and I will work on a representation of the fees that we think the courts are generating. Maybe we leave the fields out of it for the moment, because that kind of opens up a can of worms. Maybe not, don't know. But at least, do something on the court side. And then maybe we marry that into this proposal about and here's how we'd like to upgrade the court facilities. Dedicated pickleball court number 1, multi-use number 2, no change, multi-use number 3, repaint.
Yeah. And given that pickleball earns money and basketball does not and tennis does not, we should have a little say in how this goes, I would think. Maybe.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but
They might not
it's
see
not
that.
always how
Yeah.
politics work. So,
But I do think they should tell, because they were pretty clear. It was a long time ago, and nobody there is going to not just remember, they won't have been there, but it was very clear what percentage of the costs we were covering from user fees versus the maintenance costs for the fields. And I think we should put it on them to tell us that for the courts. We can come up with the user fees. That's kind of straightforward.
But can they come up with the
But-
maintenance fees?
That they should come up with that, because on the fields, it was water.
Yeah.
It was a huge percent. It was water, and then it was mowing, and that was labor. But anyway, they should come up. They should be able to come up with that for us. They should tell us exactly what our maintenance costs are for courts.
That'd be great. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Got it.
To what end?
Just to say that we're generating revenue and you're not having any expense.
But what percentage of the user fees covers maintenance costs? Because it was 20%, and the goal was to take it to 50% for the fields. So what is it for courts?
I guess But do we think like that we generate 125% of the field and court costs and
Not field and court. If, yeah, you have to
want that
separate the
25% back to go in a course? You know what I mean? Like, do we think there's bringing in more money than is going out
Oh, absolutely on the courts,
on the fields and courts?
but not the fields and courts, no.
So
But we don't use the fields.
Certainly
Parks and
not.
Rec Committee does.
But we can separate that and we can just, I think we had, it was a long time ago, but I think we have it pretty well defined for the fields. So I think it should tell us for the courts, because we've been pursuing user fees for courts. And so what percentage of the user fees are covered the maintenance costs to the courts? It's just,
Okay,
no,
so Cindy and I will go
we'll
work
do
on
that.
that. Carolyn, did you have a comment?
Carolyn?
Yeah, great. I mean, this is a great conversation. As you might remember, I'm representing the soccer league, and I hope that the younger generations can start playing on school fields and at resortings. There has been a parking issue, and so we hope to resolve that. But it should be clear on what the user fees are. What Portola Valley Soccer Club, and this is the adult league, has experienced is there are some problems in the financing. We used to pay a deposit, and it's just like a renter deposit, and it's only when there's damage that you get, that you get approached. But there have been some issues with the deposit check. So now suddenly we get two deposits and there's two different vendor numbers, and I've raised the issue with the new finance director. I don't get a response. We're all willing to pay, but it has to be, we need to know what's going on. So I was wondering, I know we give the courts to Corte Madera and to Woodside High School. Do we get any revenue from them or not?
No, but we don't do anything for Woodside High School. It's only Corte Madera. No, we do not.
Well, in the past, Woodside High School would use the courts as well. So
No, they
longer.
don't anymore.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting to know because even with PPTS, I find, they get money for safe routes to school and they don't want to participate, but somehow they get funding for that. So it's through the parents that we find out. We don't really know what's going on. They say they're independent, and I know they get funding for some things. So until you have a full collaboration, that's when things work out. But yeah. So now you said that the courts are only for Corte Madera.
Yeah. And only, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but congratulations. I mean, if you gain the money for the courts, that should be monitored by you guys. It should not go in the general fund, because right now we have a finance director and the finances are completely, I don't know how the town has been working like this, but it's I don't know, I cannot find my words, but as a small business, you could not work like this. As a private citizen, you could not work like this. And I cannot understand how the town continues to pay this money and not know what's going on.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is
Okay.
a big meeting, because the town manager is being, of course, evaluated behind closed doors, and then we have the warrant list as a topic after that, and nobody can say anything. You will see if you ask questions, nobody
Yeah,
has
Carolyn,
an answer.
Yeah, let's keep it to Parks and Rec, okay?
Well, but it's finances, and we want to support you, but you have to understand, if the town doesn't have its finances in order, how can you guys function?
Yeah, no, I agree. Thank you for your comments. Okay, so I'm gonna move along from the courts. Any other final thoughts? Okay, let's go to everybody's favorite subject, what the
Dog
public has been waiting for. Dog park.
Okay, well, the first thing that I would like to propose is that instead of calling it a dog park, we
Off.
call it an off-leash dog area. Because I think dog park brings up certain visualizations in people's mind, and I think we're just better off if we call it an off-leash dog area.
You got
And
it. Done.
essentially where we were at as of last month is we had looked at the second round of the survey. I sent it to everybody and got some more comments. Dave, I'd never heard from you. And I did make comments. I mean, I made changes given the comments. So I thought we should go over this again. But in addition, I've recently been contacted with the request that we involve the other committees with respect to the survey and get their input before we move forward. I certainly can see how if we get to site selection, you know, we need to have, as we've been working with conservation or if it involves open space, but I want to sort of gather other people's thoughts about that. And I think there's people from the public that want to talk about it. So, and then the last piece, and maybe I'll go over the survey first, but Patty, where we left it is that you were going to be speaking with Sharif regarding the implementation of this survey and getting the green light there. So does that sound good? So,
Go for it.
I mean, we can go over this, and as you can see, it has always been said it's an off-leash dog area. And for those of you that might be new to this process, Portola Valley can adopt an ordinance to designate an off-leash dog area somewhere. It can be fenced, but it is not required to be fenced. So that's important to know. And what we want to do with this survey is really gauge interest in an off-leash dog area and try to better understand that if we offered an off-leash dog area, if it would change people's behavior, which could be very difficult to understand from this survey. And then the next step from there would be to gather this input and have discussions about what makes the most sense, and then come up with a pilot program before anything was formalized. So there was a very minor change made to the top part, which was to just, oh my gosh, this didn't.
Are you
This is
sharing?
interesting. Let me, oh, well, I'm sharing, oh yes, okay,
You're not sharing.
I'm sharing now and somehow it didn't update, so oops. Okay, can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing was something very minor, which was just to eliminate the comma here and make it clear that we can adopt our own ordinance, just for clarification. Oops, this is Cindy's response.
My response
I
is
am on the wrong, excuse me, I am on the wrong form. Okay, so then there were no changes to the first question. And as you can see, these questions up here that have an asterisk show that they are required. And so we want to know how many dogs they own from 0 to more than 3. We want to know if you currently let your dog off leash. And then this is not required now, but if you do let your dogs off leash, where do you let them off? And it includes the town center grassy areas, Corte Madera, Ormondale, Rosati's, the town hiking trails, Ford Field and other, there's a blank for that. again, not required because if somebody, anyway. So I took off some of the required things. And then we talked about the important features. Nobody indicated anything differently on this. So parking accessibility, water availability, natural turf field, trails, garbage can, poop bag availability, fenced in area, large space to be able to throw balls and or
Good
allow a
one.
dog to run or other. Go ahead, Cindy.
I
Did
thought
you
it
say
was
something?
good. I think that was a
Oh.
really thorough.
Okay. And then again, not required. So these are, we hope we get the responses. Whether or not you own a dog, please check why you might support. Actually, let's put this as might support a dog leash, off-leash dog area. And it would be safety issues, getting the dogs off leash away from public areas, sanitary issues, complying with the legal requirements where you're not supposed to have your dog off leash, except in a certain legalized area, better socialization for dogs, allowing larger groups to congregate with their dogs and other. And then why you would not be in favor, and this is open-ended because this will probably incorporate a whole lot of personal opinions and anything else. And then if you want to be contacted and talk more, just put down your name and phone number. So that's essentially where we were at in that. I don't know, does the committee have any questions? The plan would be to get this out in the forum as well as through the town channels and on the Parks and Rec website. And that we need to, the one thing, once we figure out when we're sending the survey is obviously we want to have a deadline so we can compile the results and present them and have future discussions with the public and such.
So can you list again where you're putting it? You're putting it in PV Forum, on the website, on the town's website?
The PV Forum, the town emails. So the general town, like
emails.
the town newsletter is really where it belongs.
Yeah.
And then on our Parks and Rec page of the town website as well. And we could put it actually on the homepage of the town website with this deadline. We could post
Okay.
it there as well. We did that when we did the ad hoc
I think that covers.
the ADU survey.
No, that sounds good.
Karen, remind me, is there control to prevent people from answering it more than once?
Yes. So if you so first of all, the email is required.
Yeah,
And
speedy.
Google, it will have to be a valid email. And so, although I do have, you should have the capability to change your answers. I did allow for that capability, but it would be one email per person. And I suppose somebody could, that people have multiple emails, but
Yeah,
they
I know,
can't
yeah.
have a whole bunch.
Yeah,
I mean, we can't,
can't go overboard. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
cool.
so that's where we
Karen-
are. And I think,
Karen,
Yeah.
I think this is all great except for one thing. I feel like
Sure.
I know the answers to everything. So just explain this to me. They like to have a big open field, a grass mowed field that the dogs can run on and they can throw a ball. And it's
Are
not,
you gonna bring up
it's not fenced in.
attention?
No, by the way, I started with what I agree with 100%, which is it's not a dog park. I think
No.
we should not call it a dog park. We're talking about an off-leash dog area.
Which is a
Right.
hiking trail.
Well, it can be anything. It can be the soccer field. Because
Oh,
if you go out on the soccer field in the town center, it says no dog. It's got a big old sign and it's got a dog and it's a big circle and a cross through it. No dogs. You're not supposed to take dogs on the soccer field. And you're not supposed to take dogs onto the softball field.
we
Right.
know that.
But people do it all the
All the
time, everywhere. And so Ronati's is the same thing. It says no dogs. And people do it everywhere. So,
So,
I mean, that's
so
what I want
John,
to get back to. What are we really
yeah.
talking about here?
Well, I think
Yeah.
this question 4, quite honestly, is about,
Yep.
and maybe we need to word it differently so it's clearer, is this is where we're trying to see if people would change their behavior. And
Yep.
if they had this available, what would get them to start going there and there only to this off-leash dog area? So I can't seem to in Google Forms, I can't seem to boldface this, but I will do some searching. But I guess my question would be is, can we word this in a better manner to get to that?
But are you saying an off-leash dog area that's got grass, or you're not saying anything? And would you ever have a off-leash dog area that has grass somewhere in Portola Valley? Is that even possible?
Yes.
It is?
So, well, oh, you weren't at the meeting last month. So one proposal that John had, and I'm not, but which needs to be in the consideration set is since Rosati's Field isn't used anymore for soccer, maybe there's a way that could be a combo of soccer dog park, or we've talked about in the past that you share Ford Field, like Menlo Park uses one of their baseball fields as a dog park in the morning, and then it's used for baseball in the afternoon. So there are alternatives like that. There
Huh.
also is a huge open space. If you remember in one of our previous meetings, there's a big open space next to the pickleball courts. And you could probably modify the terrain somewhat to
Have grass?
not have it have long, natural grass weeds in it. But, I'm not saying we're going to do that, but there are ways that it probably could be done.
I see. Okay.
But this is where we get away from calling it a dog park, and really kind of mostly talk about it as it's just changing the policy that is currently there, because the signs are all up, no dogs off
Yeah.
leash. But again, I'm down there all the time, and there's dogs off leash
Off-leash
Are you
everywhere.
talking about town center,
all the
right,
time.
John?
Oh, Corte
Well,
Madera, Town Center, Ormondale, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Well, they're
People are
allowed.
just ignoring the law. It is a no, they're ignoring it, right? So we have a off leash dog policy everywhere in Portola Valley.
A leash,
Is the
yeah, a leash policy.
It's off leash. I mean, it's the law says they should be on leash, but
Yeah,
they are
right.
all off leash.
Right.
And it's not. There's nowhere you can go in Portola Valley where they're not ignoring the law. Where they are, it is meant to be on leash, and they are off leash.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, and we have
Yep.
said many times that the only way that this would be successful is if the town started enforcing.
Enforcing, and they
law.
can't.
Today,
Right.
they are not enforcing it, and
Right.
that is by choice. And,
Right.
That is the only way that it will be successful in the future. But if people ignore it and the town ignores it, we could set up the nicest spot anywhere and people would still go down to the town center.
I think
So
that's,
that is a dilemma that we have. Totally agree. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't, kind of try and figure out how far we can move this.
Well, that's why I was going to let's just accept that for a moment. Let's just say that's the reality. So, is there anywhere that we want to go to the town and say we want to change the policy, the rules, right? So, I mean, it could be at the town center. We could go and say, look, you have all these signs up that say no dogs off leash, no dogs. I mean, I can tell you, I can show you all the signs that say no dogs, right, on the soccer field, on the softball field, no dogs off leash. And we can just go to them and say, we just want to change that. Let's just say on the soccer field, you can. And that's the only reason I was going to Rosati's is because it happens to be fenced in. The difference in the soccer field at Town Center and the softball field is that there's no fences up anywhere. So now they're all running, and I don't know if there's anything we can do about it anyway. I think they're still going to go there. But at Rosati's, there's fences around the entire field, right? So if we just take those signs down and say you're allowed to run your dogs on the field, then at least we could say, well, there's this one place that you're allowed to go. Just take, because, anyway, go ahead. Yes.
I think when we discuss this, I think the question is whether, because we realized that was not really feasible for any time that there was a soccer game or Zots was in business. So it was really on Mondays was a good time. And so I think that maybe one of the questions, and again, I don't think we put it in the survey, is if maybe the Rosati's option or a lot of the other options are like the school option is one that actually is happening after, I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 p.m. is after the children are not present because there's a safety issue there. So if it's a part-time thing versus a full-time.
But the only issue with the schools
access.
is that we don't have jurisdiction over the schools. So that's a different issue. We have to go to the schools and ask them for permission to change.
No, but it's part-time.
policy.
My comment is that these things are all part-time except for Town Center, which is basically open all the time.
Rosati's doesn't open until 11, as I recall. So every
Correct. So you could
morning-
have it in the mornings.
You could have a morning
You could do
dog
it in the
park.
mornings.
Where most of the people at Town Center that I've seen are in the morning. Well, that's because I'm in the morning.
But no, that's a huge portion of it.
Yeah, I think it is.
And again, I want to keep going to that. It was just a solution I thought because the other thing about Rosati's is it's totally fenced in. Right,
Yeah, so
it is.
Rosati's would be perfect for mornings.
It's 100%. It's fenced in 100%. There's no
Who's gonna
openings.
pick, who's
There's
gonna
nothing.
pick up the dog
Zero.
poop? Who's
Well,
gonna pick
that's
up the
an
dog
issue.
poop?
That's an issue. That's true
Is
for
that-
all of this, everywhere.
Okay,
Sorry.
Dave has his hand up.
The dog has a opinion, and
Dave has his hand up.
there's clearly
Someone's coming home.
understand.
I'm gonna have to unshare my screen and mute myself.
Okay.
Dave, you have the floor.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we wanted to put what time you use which things as part of the survey, or if that was too complicated. Or if we just want to figure that out by
Mornings are, I think mornings are really popular.
yeah, if we just want to get any data behind that from the survey, or if
Yeah.
we wanted to do it by patrolling is the wrong word, but I can't think of the right word.
Maybe, are you suggesting a question about maybe when they would use the dog
Yeah.
park most?
When would
Yeah.
they use an off-leash area?
Yeah.
That's a thought.
That's a thought.
I think, sorry, Duncan, can you take him, please? What if we were to ask what time of day you currently
Yes.
have your dog off leash? So we understand what the usage pattern is right now, because I just don't know if we're gonna change the the usage time pattern, right? People drop their kids off from school and go somewhere, or they do it in the evening somewhere. So maybe it's more that we just ask what time of day.
That's a
Are
good
you-
idea.
Well, except I don't want to set the expectation that we're gonna be able to accommodate 24 hours a day, unless it's a town center. I mean, I wonder if it's better to ask maybe in blocks of time, like when would you most often use a dog park? Like 8 to 10 a.m., 10 to 2, whatever. That's what
No,
I was
I'm
thinking.
sorry, I didn't mean like an open-ended what time of day. Yes, we would be like more, early morning, mid-morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, we could do the blocks of hours if we wanted, because that ties to the Rosati's opening.
yeah.
You know, we could say between 8 and 11. Is
right.
that,
That's
Yeah.
what I
or
was
be,
thinking.
before,
I
okay,
think- I think that's a good ad, actually.
Yeah, very good.
okay.
Keep it up, Dave. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
You get one.
But can
No,
I
no.
just really emphasize the very upfront point, the first point, which is to not call it a dog park and say it's an
We
off-leash
are.
dog
Already
area.
We
established
already-
that.
we
That's
already
already
talked
I
established.
know,
about that,
I know,
John.
I'm just emphasizing it because
No,
I think it's
I know.
critical.
Move
I
on.
know.
Every time we ever say it, I hear somebody say, "What's wrong with that?" Oh, but the horses. It's like, what about the horse event? I don't know. So let's just keep with the off-leash dog area.
I agree with you 100%.
Okay, so,
Okay.
so I will draft a question that will
Put time
be
in.
very similar to what we discussed, and I'll put, you know, before 11 a.m., 11 to 2 p.m., maybe 3 p.m., right? That's, and then 3 to 5 and after 5. I don't know if anyone has suggestions, kind of mirroring what people do right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can send that out to everybody, and then I'll add it into the survey.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
And then-
To answer the question, so I sent the note to Sarah, Sharif, and Catherine asking if they supported sending out a survey. I only heard back from Sarah. Sarah said, great for me, but Sarah already has a solution in mind, but she's very supportive. Sharif didn't say anything, but he's behind on several things that he owes me right now. So I will pay him again.
And there was one other thing that we needed to know from, is that me that's causing that echo?
Yes. it
Um,
was.
Sorry. I think somebody else might have been talking at the same time. Patty, what was it that you needed to find out
Was- We needed to
from
know if
Catherine?
dogs were allowed at Springtown. And the answer we got back on that is Catherine couldn't work on that because it was not one of her priorities.
Right, okay,
So,
okay.
Oh, my God.
okay, Betsy, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you all. I appreciate being able to weigh in here a little bit, not directly, I'll just not directly to the question of the survey. Hello?
Go ahead. You're fine.
Okay. Not directly to the survey, Patty and Karen, but thank you, and how do you do, Cindy and David and John. I realize you all have had your eyes on the idea of a dog park, or what you're calling an off-leash area, which a term I personally don't find has a lot of distinction, but maybe you do, and maybe others do. Anyway, I understood this to be a desire of yours for a while now. What actually hit me by surprise just several days ago was learning that since December the 5th, your focus had narrowed to spring down open space, and that it was a subject of every meeting since. I do hear this evening and appreciate John's expanded approach to looking at sites. So I first just want to say I really value collaboration across committees and sharing what we know, and preferably engaging early in the process. It breeds goodwill, I think, and I know it breeds good information. So I see it as being all upside. So I'm here to offer resources and the opportunity to perhaps meet subcommittee to subcommittee, or to do something to enrich and enlarge this conversation beyond what's still tightly contained. I think it's tightly contained within your committee. And I don't actually think that will serve you well, but that will be ultimately your call. The Open Space Committee has amassed a long history with Springdown that's relevant to this discussion. The Springdown vision statements, the master plan proposal that's been approved by the town council, the many volunteer and public works hours that have been invested in bringing the open space to the level you see today are all pieces of that history too. But what I really want to do this evening is go back to the town's acquisition of Springdown. A very generous resident offered that land to the town for a favorable price. And it's meaningful, I think, to all of us that Carol continues to reside there. The grant deed restrictions, the donor intent, they've been clear for decades. And the town council has aligned with that, investing pretty significant town resources to raise the level of the open space to today's level. And we want to continue doing that. I just really don't know that it's consistent with an off-leash dog area. The impacts are considerable. And it could well be that you find yourself very much, as I heard tonight around the pickleball, that this becomes, I will call the off-leash dog area, could become an attractive nuisance that becomes appealing to people that live far and wide. And so we might consider that it gets a lot of non-resident use too. So I want to go back to just honoring and respecting the gift of the donor to our community, to recognizing that there are all sorts of impacts that we want to respect and other kinds of impacts we want to avoid. And my last point really is more general and protective here. In my life, I've learned more times than I can count that timing is not everything, but it's almost everything. And at this moment in time, the town is in very serious financial straits. The idea of an off-leash dog area may or may not be a good idea someday. That much is debatable, and I see your survey is pointing to that. But whether the timing for that debate is appropriate in this fiscal year, with all that we have going on, I think deserves your thought and reflection. Thanks so much for listening to me. And I know this means a lot to you, and you've invested time in it too.
Thank you, Betsy. We really appreciate you providing your comments.
Yeah.
Can I just
Sure.
clarify a couple of things?
Yeah,
So
go
Betsy, we haven't only been looking at Springdown. It's one of a consideration set. As I said, you heard there's Rosati's. At one point, we were thinking there could be potential over at Ford Field. We also looked at this big open area next to the pickleball courts at the town. So nothing has been set in stone. And so I just want you to know that. And certainly when the site selection issues come up, the appropriate individuals and committees and stakeholders will be engaged and involved. And I guess my last question is do you have comments on the survey, which is the first step of the process? Because I didn't hear anything about the survey.
I prefaced by saying that I wasn't going to speak directly to the survey. My very general comment is I have real reservations, serious reservations about a dog park. Full stop, regardless of where it arrives. As I looked at your survey, it disenfranchises that point of view. There were numerous leading questions that supposed I favored it. And I did see this one line that looked as though it received less thought than the other questions had. So I thought it wasn't balanced, and that wouldn't therefore draw people to, I was concerned about the quality of responses that you would get because of it. So that made me reflect upon, you had put out that you received a letter from someone that had advocated a broader look across other committees, and that might have merit for that reason. That's my only comment for the night. I didn't study it carefully. I just listened to you speak. But thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Are there other comments from anyone else in the audience? Okay. So, committee, do you have any proposal about how to move forward?
Well, don't we want to put out the survey?
I'm asking.
I would,
That's what
I
committee
think
wants.
we need to start somewhere. I mean, there may be no interest at all. There may be a great deal of interest, and I don't think we're gonna find out unless we do something proactive.
It feels like that's the only question on the table is like, what's the survey going to look like? And again, going back to the very beginning, is the only issue I have with it is how it's presented, which is it a dog park or is it an off-leash
Off-leash
dog area? Yeah, and so, I think if we present it as do we want to change any of these elements of the town to make any of them off-leash? That's come across very differently than it's every time we say dog park,
It's a different,
people have this visceral reaction to that. Right? We just saw it I've seen it in multiple places. They were like, oh, well, as long as the horses, we have the horse event, it doesn't interfere with that, or whatever it is. There's a visceral reaction to it, right? So I think we should kind of try to think about what we really are looking for here. I don't think we're even looking for a dog park. We're looking for where do we want to change the policies of the town, which I think just means change it from where it says no dogs to you're allowed to, or off leash anyway, to you're allowed to. So it comes back to the off leash dog area. And we should, if we're going to do a survey, let's cater it around that, so we're not going to get some reaction that we know is coming, which is we don't want a dog park in Portola Valley.
So Karen, the words dog park aren't in your survey, are they?
They're not.
She's
You're
mute.
on mute,
Mute.
Aaron. You're on mute.
There,
Sorry,
I'm reading it. They're
sorry,
not.
that's because my dog likes to weigh in. So, but no, they're not in there. And I'll put it up again because I think we should revisit Betsy's comment that we're favoring dog parks, which was not our intent at all. We're trying to gauge interest in it, whether there's interest or there's no interest. So
That's
let's just
exactly
take a
right.
look again.
But interest in
Um,
off-leash areas.
Do we
Yeah, so we talk about the off-leash
Off-leash
dog
dog area.
area, off-leash dog area. The fact that right now every dog is supposed to be leashed.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing that talks about a dog park. So that's
So,
fine. That
yes.
piece of it. And then I guess the question is, we do start with how many dogs do you own? But there's also the answer to, the ability to say 0 if you're not a dog lover.
You can still have an opinion.
And then we look at usage. And then we go down to why you would support it and then why you would not support it. And I guess the question would be, do we need more about not supporting it, or should that be higher up? I don't know. It seemed as though well, I don't know. I'm interested in feedback on that.
Do we have a new question? Is there like, are there places in Portola Valley like where you feel like we should absolutely never have an off-leash area and include the ones from question 3, except we have to remove the schools because we'll never be able to get that permitted
Yeah.
because it's California state law.
Well,
You think that we
So-
should ask about? Oh, go ahead, Patty.
my initial response to that is no, but that's my initial response. I need to, primarily because I think in this initial survey, we should really focus on, is there interest?
Yeah,
Do we have
Let's go
enough
with
people that say, yeah, I want the town to take a look at this? If the answer comes back, nope, then why even go to location? If the answer comes back yes, then I think we've got a longer, probably more drawn out process to say, okay, where are the opportunities? To Betsy's point, we need to work with other committees. We need to, I mean, that's a much bigger question. And I'm worried that if we include it as part of this survey, we lose the whole, is there enough interest or not? That's just my thought.
I think that's true.
Do we want to?
Yeah, go
but
ahead, Dave.
Do we want to give voice to Betsy's opinions that like no way should there be a dog park? Like, do we want to gauge opposition as opposed to as well as support, I guess?
Oh. that's
Well,
an
we have this question here, number 6. Why would
yeah.
you not be in favor of an off-leash dog area in Portola Valley? I guess my question would be, do we want to start off with one that says something to the effect of,
You would support or not
are
support,
you
supportive of having a off-leash dog area in Portola Valley? Yes or no?
yeah, and it's yes or no.
Just simple. We'll start with that. That would be
mean-
a really good start.
Given that that's really our question. Oh,
That
let's
is
see
the
his hand up.
question.
Oh, thank you for recognizing. I really applaud where you're taking this direction, Patty. Surface this, gauge the level of interest in a dog park. To me, that's a really simple, that draws people towards you with regardless, because it isn't a leading question. And it could be a yes or a no, and then also you could kind of grade it if you felt like going 1 to 5 on it. But I think if you kept it super simple in the beginning, and then the features, what features would you like in a dog park? I would wait for a follow-up email if you get a really positive response on the front end. You know how people need to work their way up. But that piece is lesser. If you want to get it all done in one survey, go for it. But I do like the open-ended approach to that initial question. Because then people who
Open-
say no,
Open-ended? We said it
Yes
was
or
yes,
no?
no. I'm sorry.
it's open, it's open, an open-minded question. I mean, more
Okay.
than
I'm neutral, so yes or no?
a neutral. That's the way.
Okay.
You all function
Or-
much better than I do after 10 o'clock. I'm going to sign off and go to bed now.
Yeah.
But I applaud the durability of this committee. Thanks so much for
lovely.
entertaining the comments and working on behalf of the town. Bye, all.
Thanks, Betsy.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
That
So
makes-
I'll add a question.
I just wanted to be known that I operate better after 10 p.m. So
How many
I'm okay.
beers have you had?
Well, not many.
Yeah,
I had a
how many-
softball game, so I had to be able to
Yeah.
pitch.
Your words are
Um,
slurring a little bit
No,
more.
I'm not. I
John.
know. I'm just
No.
saying we can start at 10 p.m. if that's what everybody wants to do.
No.
Hush.
Do we want to move, yeah, never mind.
so we would start out with, are you in favor of an off-leash dog area in Portola Valley? And it would be
Yes or
yes, no, or, and neutral.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Right.
I think that's fair. There's somebody who doesn't care. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll also add the question about, as we get down
wanna-
into,
know
the
what?
Dave's comment. Oh, go,
I know, I'm sorry. I know, you can't solve everything. My fear is the answer to that question is going to be, well, it depends. You know, if you put it in Springdale, the answer is no. If you put it at Town Center, sure, go ahead.
Well, but we're
Yes,
giving them a
no,
chance to
maybe.
find
Yes,
what that
no,
is.
maybe.
I don't know how you get to that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, that would be my first response. If I was looking at this, brand new.
Then let's say yes, then have it be yes, no, maybe.
I think maybe is a good word.
yeah.
Okay.
And you know what?
Yes,
It's
no,
just,
maybe.
it, again, we're gonna get the data and we're gonna take it from there. We're
Yeah,
gonna see.
okay. All right, all right.
Okay, so I'm gonna, okay,
we-
I'm gonna revise the survey. I'm gonna send it to everybody
back.
again.
Okay,
Dave,
then
very
we'll all
quick.
comment again.
Well,
Well,
I have to figure out
last
how
one,
you guys
last
can
one.
comment again. I think I have to create a new link. So anyway, what, Dave, what did you
Do we wanna
wanna?
move, do we wanna move 6 up to be the second question? The current 6, though? And is there a way to make it?
Yes, we were gonna make it the first question.
No, you're gonna make like A or
Oh.
B, are you in favor? Well,
Oh,
yes, no, maybe, are you in favor? And then immediately after, like, if you say no there, because then you're done with the survey, right?
No,
Well,
but
that'd be
we
okay.
still. Well, I need to think about it. I don't know
Think
if
about
we
it.
want to put that up at the very top, an open-ended question without people going
All right,
through, but
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know. I have to think
I-
about it.
I
Yeah.
don't wanna lead the witness too much.
I don't wanna lead them the other way either, right?
Right, I agree. Okay, well, we gotta put a bow on
Well-
this.
Okay. Okay, so timing wise. Patty, is there anything that has to happen with the town, with Sharif or Catherine or?
I'll just bug Sharif. Catherine does not need to weigh in on this.
Okay, okay,
But Sharif does. So
okay,
I will bug Sharif.
okay,
Okay, so
thank
I'm here
you.
with the committee. We've made some revisions, but we are still supportive of sending out the survey.
I am,
Assuming Sharif agrees. Agreed?
agreed.
Yeah, agree.
Okay. All right. Bev, Peter, you have anything to say? You're just listening for fun?
So I'm here. Bev is here. I've been hanging in. Bev Lipman's been hanging here. I thought Betsy spoke very well. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm a member of the Open Space Committee. And of course, she's our chairman and she did a good job. But
Okay.
I liked her comment about that the survey was pointed towards favorable answers to an off-leash dog area rather than something more neutral. And you guys are, I think, solving that one, hopefully.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bev.
Okay, all right.
Appreciate you hanging in there. with
I'm
us.
hanging in there.
I know you, Bev.
Okay,
All right.
I know you too.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Anything else on the off-leash dog area?
Yeah, we're gonna change that on the agenda, right?
Yes, we are. Already done.
Good.
Okay. I actually have no updates on F, G, or H. So
Thank you.
we could bring this in at under 3 hours if nobody has anything to say.
Don't have anything to say.
No.
I have a question. Is anyone good with Google Forms?
Some of them, why?
That could be.
Okay, I may get in touch with you because I want to make sure that you guys can fill the survey out again. And
Right.
I need to figure out how you can do that if you've already filled it out, given the way I set it up.
Oh,
But I might just have to create a new
Just send it out
survey,
and see what
copy it.
Yeah.
Well,
do,
I have a plan.
I do
So-
have a license for Survey Monkey, if you'd rather do that. So that's an offer,
Okay. Okay, thank you.
right? Okay. Anything else? Want to bring it in under 3 hours here?
Wait,
Motion to
Motion to
dismiss.
adjourn.
second.
Adjourn, yeah. Second. Oh, Dave got me. Third.
John, I realize you're just hitting, your speed, but we gotta let you go.
Okay, well, we didn't win tonight.
We
Well,
know.
Sorry.
I
You're a
don't think I
loser.
pitched badly. I was 3 for 3
Oh.
batting, just for the
I
record.
think-
I was
I think
fine.
you're doing
That's good.
plenty of crying in your beer there, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Any home runs?
Well, I almost had in the park home run, not on Alta, so, but not quite. A triple. Anyway,
means you're
nope, it was a good
fast.
game.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
right, good.
you gotta put it in the
Alright.
corner. Anyway, so
Who was the
I've-
which team did you play?
we played black and black, and they had their playoff theme going. So
Oh.
Dave won't appreciate this. By the way, their right fielder, this is Chris
God.
Sevy. If you know Chris Sevy, anyway, his daughter is out there in right field, and she caught 4 fly balls, screaming fly balls at her, and she caught them all. And then 2 or 3 more were bounced to her. Anyway, when you have a right fielder who can catch fly ball, 4
I
fly
know,
balls
that's where
to
they
them,
usually put
that's worth like 6 or 7 runs.
the women.
It was Chris Sevy's daughter, Bree. She played incredibly. She was the MVP, and everybody was like, "Oh my God." Because again, 4 fly balls to the right
Recruiter.
fielder. That's where you put the ones that can't catch.
I know.
And she caught 4 of them, and they weren't easy. They were screaming fly balls at her. So she was by far the MVP. It was incredible performance, actually. So it was fun. It was fun, even though we lost. But
Hey,
again,
I flew
Anyway.
all the way to Colorado to watch the Giants lose to the Rockies. So try and top that.
good for you. That's awesome.
Were there any
No.
playground outs, John?
One bounced in. No. But there were actually 5 home runs. So we were
Wow.
had to keep track. Yeah. So yeah, that's a
What,
lot. I mean, usually
Well,
there's
you
like
said it was
0.
18-15, right? I mean,
Yes,
that's
it
a
was,
huge
yeah.
scoring game. Yeah.
It was,
What's
yeah.
the minimum age that you need to be in the adult league? When you said it was somebody's
30.
daughter.
30.
30,
So
okay.
actually, yeah.
Okay.
So actually on both teams, this is the thing, because we have 2 players on our team that are the children of player, because our average age is over 60. I mean, truly, we have a 73-year-old on our team.
Are you the purple
Um,
team?
Yeah.
Of
yeah.
course you are.
Yeah, so I mean, our average age, I know it for sure. We don't have many players under 60 on our team,
But you won
except
last
for
year.
the children, the year before or something like that. But yeah, the white team is undefeated this year and undefeated last year.
Hmm.
That's a whole different story. But yeah, that's why we can have a couple of players on it, because I'm 63, just to put it out there. So I have children in our third. I mean, we have players in our late 60s and their children now on the team. So a couple, just 2. But that's the transition that's going to go on. It's better than soccer. It's fun because the women can be under 30, That's just the rule we set, and it's fun to play. Sort of like LeBron James. His son is now on the Lakers, right? Bronny just got drafted by the Lakers, but that's what's happening in our leagues, where you have your children on the teams, and it's fun. So there's two of our children, the Giordano's, the Matt Giordano's now on the team, and his mother is on the team, which is it's wonderful. That's all, right? It's like when you can play with your children on these adult teams now.
Yeah, you get mad at
fun.
them when they drop a ball in right field.
Yeah. Well, there was a Giordano to Giordano play today where it was, Matt, the son, threw it to his mother to make it out. And it was just, again, it was fun.
All right. Good night,
Yeah.
everyone.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Been fun.
everybody. Okay. Take care.